Well, good afternoon, everybody. This is Ashley Crowther, broadcasting live on the Glamorgan cricket live stream from Sapphire Gardens in Cardiff for the next exciting instalment in this fascinating Vitality Blast competition between Glamorgan and Worcestershire today. Two sides who are tied on 20 points and both with high hopes of reaching the quarterfinals, and they could maybe take a small step towards doing that at the match today. Well, I'm joined by Nakul Pandey, the sports journalist and broadcaster, who will be with me in the commentary box for this match. Nakul, great to see you. And, fascinatingly balanced this game. Two teams who are putting a few wins together and, of course, both tied on 20 points as well. So, an exciting game in prospect. Which way do you see it going?
Good afternoon, Ashley. Yeah, delighted to be here. Yeah, I think, we'll come to it in a second in terms of how both teams are going to try and approach this game, but they've kind of ended up on 20 points in slightly differing ways, in that Glamorgan were sort of trading wins and losses at the start of the season. Worcestershire got on a really bad run. They lost 3 games running, but have just beaten Somerset and then absolutely demolished Kent really on Friday. Bowling them out for the lowest score a Worcestershire team has ever bowled anyone out for in T20 cricket. So they've been kind of more feast or famine. Glamorgan have been pretty, I say, as solid as you can be for a team that keeps taking games to the last ball. Yeah. If that makes any sense.
They could have won all of them, and in the end, a few went right down to the wire.
There have been very few where, like Worcestershire lost by 100 runs to Northend at the start of the season, but then beat Kent by 85 runs at the start on Friday. So I think Glamorgan probably the more consistent team coming into this game, and both level on 20 points, 5 wins, although it's important to note that Glamorgan have a game in hand, which could prove crucial come the final shake-up for those quarter-final spots.
Yeah, that's right. Glamorgan currently in 3rd, Worcester currently in 4th, and Gloucestershire, who've played one more than Glamorgan, in 2nd, and so they're the ones that they're chasing today. So, I think Glamorgan, as you say, feel like they're in a good place, generally, at the moment. Lots of confidence, I think, in the camp, not least because of their form in the Championship, surprising a lot of people by their form in the 4-day cricket, and they brought some of that positivity, I think, back into the Blast for this second chunk of Blast games, and 2 really good wins, including an impressive victory again against Warwickshire on Friday night. So I think they'll probably feel confident. And interesting, we've got news of the toss here, that Worcester won the toss, and they have elected to bat, and so Glamorgan get to chase, and that's what they like doing. So what's your sense about why Worcester have chosen to do that and to bat first?
Yeah, Worcestershire choosing to bat first, and both of those last 2 wins that we've been talking about against Somerset and Kent, both of those were Worcestershire batting first. Now, admittedly, that's new road, sort of different dimensions, different playing surface, probably a slower playing surface, but you've kind of got the sense that with Glamorgan chasing and Worcestershire batting first, that both teams have kind of got what they wanted from the toss. So we should be set up for an absolute cracker on what is a lovely day here in Cardiff. Yeah,
it is. And here's the Glamorgan lineup. Well, they're unchanged again for the 3rd match in a row. And, I guess the players you'd pick out on current form, Sean Dixon has been doing a superb job coming at number 5, and has he finished the game, the last 2 games he was out there in the middle, and has taken them pretty close in that amazing matchup in Lancashire as well. So he's a key player and looks like has been a fantastic signing for Glamorgan this season. Asa Tribe as well has only played 3 matches. I think he's averaging 60 odd, and I think his lowest score so far is in the 40s. So again, another key man in the middle order. And Carlson and Smale, well, they've been. Will Smale got his first half century of the competition on Friday night as well. So I think feels like a strong batting lineup. Ben Kellaway probably the only player who's yet to fire. And so many options in the bowling, I think, Nakul. That's what I've really noticed here, with all those all-rounders in Douthwaite, McAndrew, Jimmy Neesham, obviously, Ben Kellaway, proper all-rounder as well, bowling his off-spinners too.
You got 6-7 bowling options there, potentially. Jimmy Neesham obviously got brought in when Fazal Faruqi ended up going back to Afghanistan, and if you can bring in a player of James Neesham's not just ability but experience, ability to handle multiple different roles within the team, because he's been the fact that Jimmy Neesham has come into the team and he's actually they've not had to use him that much with the bat or the ball, is pretty impressive, and obviously his if you talk about someone with experience of tight games, it's just and how to handle the lower order finish or the late game finishes that Glamorgan have been handling. There's no one better than handling tight games that go down to the wire than Jimmy Neesham. Yeah. Think back to 2019, and he was right there in the thick of it.
That's it. No, absolutely. Not much he hasn't seen in white ball cricket. A great man to have coming in. So I don't know if we've got the Worcestershire card as well that we can have a look at, but I think it's just on his way. As you can see, Glamorgan just taking the field at the moment. That's Kieran Carlson, Ben Kellaway leading them onto the field through the tunnel of young supporters. And Glamorgan, as they like to do now, bowling first. And well, we can probably just give you a bit of team news if we don't have the Worcester graphic to show you. Well, a couple of changes now, cool, with Brett D'Oliveira injured and so not able to play, and also they've lost Sikada Raza. It's been a key player for them. Their leading run scorer, has taken some useful wickets as well. Tell us why he's had to miss out.
Yeah, so Sikandar Raza. In fact, we do have the team. Yeah, so it's Kashif Ali and Isaac Mohammed opening the batting. The two changes for Worcestershire, as Ashley was saying there. So Bayer Swanepoel, the South African or seam bowling all-rounder, has come in replacing Sikandar Raza. He has been called back to Zimbabwe because they've got a limited over series against Bangladesh starting tomorrow. The other change is injury in force. Brett D'Oliveira family pretty much load-bearing in Worcestershire cricket, replaced by Fateh Singh, the left-arm spinner who started his career at Northants but joined Worcestershire a couple of years ago. So just the two changes for Worcestershire from their thumping win against Kent at Worcester on Friday.
Well, there we go. You heard about the teams. Now down to the action here at Sophia Gardens in Cardiff. Beautiful day. Just some wispy high cloud, but warm sunshine bathing the ground, and we're going to start off with some spin, as Glamorgan did on Friday night with Ben Kellaway, one of the all-rounders in this Glamorgan side, who's going to take the ball and bowl first up here to the opening partnership of Isaac Mohammed and Kashif Ali. And straight away, Kashif off the mark with a little single into the leg side. So an interesting tactic this again. Glamorgan have mixed it up in the different matches. Some matches they've just gone for a more traditional seam, bowling sort of line and length stuff early on, but Ben Kellaway coming straight into the attack.
Yeah, it's been quite hard to... It's incredible to have that tactical flexibility that you can't necessarily nail down who the opening bowlers are for Glamorgan. It comes back to what we were saying about having so many bowling options.
Straight away, intent from Isaac Mohammed, and he's smashed that one straight through mid-wicket for the opening boundary. Well, he does look like an attacking player, this young man.
Yeah, teenager Isaac Mohammed. He was talking in the week about Worcestershire sort of got their T20 campaign back on track, but he was saying they're trying not to look too far ahead. The fielder out in the deep is more an orthodox mid-wicket. That one went much straighter. Good pick into the gap.
Goes again on the other side, but can't pierce the field there. Mason Crane in the covers. Well, seems probably of the two, Mohammed potentially the naturally maybe the more attacking of the two batters, but we shall see. Goes again, nice shot. It's another boundary. Well, this is a good start. Isaac Mohammed showing that he's a clean striker for the ball on both sides of the wicket.
Trifle too short from Kellaway, and it's not a big hit square with the boundaries in as they are, and early signs looks like a lightning fast outfield.
Yeah, been unusually dry here in South Wales over the last couple of weeks. Oh, and Kellaway comes back brilliantly and bowls in, and Glamorgan strike. They've got rid of the dangerous Isaac Mohammed, and that's big relief. First wicket to Glamorgan, 9 for 1 now Worcestershire after 5 balls.
Classic tactic from the finger spinner, bowling the demon one that doesn't turn, going through the inside, going past the inside edge of the left-hander. It was a bit of a non-committal shot from Kashif Ali, who'd played that lovely slog sweep in from Isaac Mohammed. Yeah, just sort of neither one thing nor the other, really. Not forward, not back, not really a defensive stroke. And Ben Kellaway, winning the game of you miss, I hit.
Yeah, got it to shoot through off the surface there as he tried. I think maybe he was looking to open the face or try and run it down through third man for a single. But as it is, he missed it. That's the important thing. And Ben Kellaway gets a very welcome wicket for Glamorgan. 9 for 1. And that brings Gareth Roderick, the keeper batsman, out into the middle. Right-hander. And just a few adjustments in the field. Ben Kellaway just shuffling his offside fielders around a little bit. And, well, that's a good result for Glamorgan. And a comfortable single. Roderick straight off the mark. So, the end of an eventful first over. 2 boundaries, but also a wicket. And Worcestershire, after 1, are 10 for 1.
I think you'd take that probably up top. Finger spinner in the power play. Worcestershire have lost, we're talking about Sikandar Raza, they've not just lost experience and quality, but they've lost their fastest scoring batter this year. He's the only one of Worcestershire's batters to score above 140 by 100 balls in the blast this season. I mean, you were talking about that it looked more like Azam Mohammed would be the aggressor. He's striking barely over a run of ball this season, so Worcestershire are not necessarily a team built to blow teams away at the top of the order.
So it's Tim van der Hoogten who is going to take the ball first from the Cathedral Road end. Probably expect that sort of back and length, line and length. They've got a first slip in, slip and 2 hit, so looking to try and shape it away. But as it has been clipped, a straight ball. It's timed quite nicely, and in fact it runs all the way. Well, very well timed from Gareth Roderick. I think van der Hoogten will be sort of cursing himself a little bit too straight there, maybe. And that ball was worked very nicely behind square on the leg side for Roderick's first boundary.
12 off 12 he was the other day, even in the win against Kent. So and he managed 1 boundary in that inning, so it'd be good for him to get off the mark with 1.
Innovation and brilliantly played by Roderick. That's a fabulous shot. Cleared short fine leg comfortably in the end, and back-to-back boundaries.
That's a terrific shot, really was. Classic case of knowing where the fielders are not. The short fine leg is up. He took that from outside off stump to get that paddle sweep up over short fine leg. Resisted the temptation to put the man back there.
So pressure on van der Hoogten. Gone for 2 boundaries. That's a better response. Probably more where he wants it, when there's still a chance of a little bit of shape away from the right-hander.
Can't really afford to get too full with the field as it is. He really looking more hard lengths at the top of off stump.
Yeah, so of course only 2 fielders allowed out at this stage of the match. We've got Dan Douthwaite there, a deep square leg. But I think he might be the only fielder out at the moment.
Deep third was hiding.
Deep third. He was hiding in the crowd. That's it. So that's it. Deep third, and that was Dan Douthwaite then who ran in to do the fielding on the leg side. Expect to see him in action before too long.
The other factor is the breeze is sort of blowing, sort of as we're looking at it from our commentary box at the Cathedral Road end, sort of diagonally to the right of the
Yes.
gantry at the River Taff end.
Yeah.
So the hitting leg side from this end is the shorter hit, as it were, with the wind.
Has a little feel outside off stump there, and didn't make contact, but that's more the area where you think that van der Hoogten probably has the bowl. Lots of spaces on the leg side, if anything that can be worked through mid-wicket or behind square on the leg side.
Got a little bit of movement off the surface in towards the right-hander. They brought the short third up now and got to a more deep backward point.
Cut. Oh, indecision. But in the end, they shuffled back, and Sean Dixon pounced on that shot. Hit firmly, but straight into Dixon's hands, and quite wisely, the batters decided not to carry on with that single, or they might have been in trouble. So the end of the second over, 19 for 1. Kashif just, he hasn't faced many balls, actually, only faced 3 balls He's on 1, and Roderick has started really nicely. He's on 10 off 5 balls.
Karshivalli, interesting story. So he was the first graduate of the South Asian Cricket Academy to get a professional contract a few years ago for Worcestershire, the South Asian Cricket Academy, founded by Dr. Tom Brown, to try and get more South Asian cricketers into the professional setup, and it's now got possibly double figures, but certainly a good handful of players around the county circuit. Karshivalli was the first of them,
including Zainul Hassan here at Glamorgan as well, of course, who opens the batting in the championship. So Nathan McAndrew, big South Australian, one of Glamorgan's 2 overseas players, leading wicket taker for Glamorgan in this competition so far with 12. Has been a real go-to man sometimes when things seem to be getting away from Glamorgan. He's been able to tie things down and bowl good line and length. Again, genuine all-rounder as well. Useful performer with the bat as well.
Terrific signing, picking him up from Sussex.
Gives himself room. It's in the air, and it's going to go all the way. Just beats Stan Douthwaite, who can't get there. Well, Roderick again chancing his arm a little bit, playing some quite high-risk shots, but at the moment they're coming off.
I think it's definitely the risk and reward is in the favour of Roderick doing that, because we were talking about the fact that Glamorgan tend not to, or Worcestershire rather, tend not to blow teams away, but I think they've got to try and get ahead of the game in the power play, given how good Glamorgan have been at chasing this season. And early signs are that it looks like a pretty decent surface.
Yeah, seeing the ball well so far. And good shot again, goes over the top. This time, is that all the way? It is! Into the front row of the stand. And Roderick, well, he's really setting the stall out here. He's not going to die wandering. And he's really got some momentum into this Worcestershire innings early on.
In all fairness, that was kind of in the slot from McAndrew. He does have to drag his length back a little bit, but down on one knee, pick up straight sweep almost from Gareth Roderick. And he has decided that someone's got to get this Worcestershire innings going, and it looks like he said it's going to be him.
So, Glamorgan just needing to get the control back. Dot ball, welcome. It was wide, and I think Roderick will feel he's missed out a little bit there.
You could see him almost at the last minute, because there is the deep point out there, almost trying to delay his stroke as long as he possibly could, but it just never really quite arrived at him, and he ended up sort of ugly bottom edging it. It's one of those that sounds really nasty in the stump mic.
So, 2 boundaries from the first 4 balls. Again, massive, absolutely massive. Is that going to go all the way? It's gone high. Oh, well, it was a great contact, but I think it just went a bit too high, didn't it? Really went up in the air. There was no danger of being caught. It easily cleared the 2 fielders, but didn't quite have the length to make it. So, well, it sounded like a really good connection, didn't it?
Yeah, he sort of underclubbed that. He's gone wedge, really should have gone iron.
Yeah. Well, got to love the intent from Gareth Roderick here. Really is putting the pressure on Nathan McAndrew. 1 ball left of this over.
Shot.
And another good shot. Really using all his experience. Another boundary, and that's been a really expensive one for Glamorgan. They've gone for 16 from that over. And Worcestershire going on quite nicely now, 35 for 1 after 3.
Early signs are the pitch is pretty easy paced, and we've seen Gareth Roderick there take 2 balls pretty much from the same spot and hit one of them down the ground, and then one of them that sort of pick up paddle sweep shot, and might be early signs already that as a seamer you might need to take the pace off a little bit, bowl some cutters into the wicket. As McAndrew, certainly the faster of the 2 seamers that we've seen so far, and that pace onto the bat has been very much to Gareth Roderick's favour.
So Ben Kellaway swaps ends. And will be relieved. Well, that ball didn't get past short fine leg there. It was a little bit leg side.
Sort of got away with one there, didn't he? Gareth Roderick almost stealing the strike off Karshivalli.
Well, the way he's going, that probably is not a bad tactic. I'm sure Karshivalli won't mind taking a single and standing, watching his watching Roderick sort of hit it to all parts. So good contest this. Callaway, 1 wicket to his name already. Oof. Well, that hasn't missed the stumps by very much. Attempted to scoop it over his head and didn't make contact. I'll look at this again. Always punch that firmly into the leg side. They'll think about 2, but Dixon very quickly round, keeps it to a single. Well, I think Glamorgan will be happy to bowl as much to Kashif Ali as they can, the way Roderick has started.
Striking around the sort of 7 and over mark this season in the blast, Kashif Ali.
It's a half-hearted appeal. Good bit of work down there by McAndrew. Diving, stopping a potential boundary as that one sort of squirted away from a sort of misconstrued sweep shot. So just 3 singles for the first 4 balls so far. Glamorgan will be pleased with that. Definitely a single almost feels like a dot sometimes in T20 cricket. Very happy just to let one go.
Callaway thought he was going to go around the wicket, then switch back to oval wicket at the very last minute.
Full. Oh, he's picked up a full toss there, got it low. 1 bounce over the boundary, and Roderick carries on where he left off the previous over, striking the ball very cleanly, and that one, well, just turned it into a low full toss, got forward, and has hit that very cleanly for another boundary.
Maybe he should have stayed round the wicket. Because he definitely thought that the sort of signal to the umpire that he was going to do that. But yeah, it's the first one he's really overpitched, Callaway.
Well, ball again, that was more like the length, and Roderick tried to create a bit of room for himself to create a different angle. Couldn't get any contact, but still another good over. That boundary just making sure that they probably feel like they'll have had enough from that over. And it looks like it's going to be spin at the other end as well.
Yeah, I can't say I'm surprised.
Or is it? Well, hang on. Is it? No, they've just put Mason Crane up on the board. I was deceived there. Actually, it's going to be Dan Douthwaite by the looks of things. So they're going to normally hold Mason Crane back for the first over, first couple of overs after the power play. And it is going to be Dan Douthwaite. Fast bowler. His natural length is that hard length, just short of a little bit shorter. Tries to hit the maker's name at the top of the bat. And he's coming in now from the River Taff end. Sort of area where he'll want to bowl. That's pretty much his stock delivery there.
I mean, there must have been half a thought of using Crane for this penultimate over of the power play, given how well Ben Callaway's gone, but then you're robbing yourself of an effective weapon in the middle overs where Crane has been so good. Yeah,
I'm sure that's the dilemma they're trying to weigh up. But, well, yeah, Callaway, 2 for 17, has been certainly the most effective bowler so far of all those used. Well, that was, I think, a slower ball. Bounced a couple of times on its way through to Chris Cook, the wicketkeeper. You were talking about those variations, Knuckle, and already Dan Douthwaite just changing it up a bit there. So the pace off it.
Yeah, might have just held that a little bit deeper in the hand. Certainly, Kashif Ali signalled to Gareth Roderick the universal sign for that one's a slower ball. Just rolling his fingers down the side of the ball. Nice change up from Douthwaite.
So just making a couple of adjustments. So there's going to be 2 fielders out on the leg side. So maybe is this going to be bluff, or maybe encouraging him to Kashif to play a shot square of the wicket. It was double bluff in the end. It was a ball just short of a length on the off stump, having sort of telegraphed that it might be something shorter with the field placings.
You sometimes, as a bowler, sort of play against the expectations of the batter with the field a little bit.
So 3 dots so far from this over. This has been a great start by Dan Douthwaite. Keen to keep Kashif Ali on strike. Won't mind that, just a single.
Other than that, slightly loose ball from Callaway that Roderick managed to sweep. It's been a good couple of overs from Glamorgan.
Yeah, it has. It has. They've got lots of options in the side, and this tactic of using Callaway early on is one that they've been trying in recent matches. Douthwaite does go short this time. Didn't catch that really, Roger. I think got it high up on the bat. Maybe slightly surprised as Douthwaite put a bit more effort into it. I think got the ball through a little bit quicker than the previous balls this over.
Sort of the archetypal bowling a heavy ball. Yeah, Kashif was through that, was knocked through that shot enough and spliced awkwardly away to deep square.
So just 2 runs from the first 5 balls here, and they'll want to exit this over as well as they can, really hoping it won't be a boundary. It's going to be a wide, so we're going to have one more ball there. Again, often, because the square boundaries are so long here, it's often a regular tactic that you don't mind batters hitting square of the wicket. So, banging the ball in the middle of the pitch and encouraging them to sort of hit it towards those 2 fielders in the deep on the leg side. So Douthwaite should be the final ball. And it has just worked into the leg side for a single, so only 4 off it. Good stuff from Douthwaite. It's just wrestled back a little bit of control there. And Worcestershire 46 for 1 after 5.
I think Glamorgan will be reasonably happy with that. Only 1 down in the power play, Worcestershire, but they haven't got away. Only 9s and over, which on a pitch where a straight hit is not a particularly long hit and what looks like a decent surface, albeit it's in the odd one move a little off the seam. And with Worcestershire not having the deepest batting lineup in the competition, but certainly Gareth Roderick looks very good. 32 not out off 16. We want him. Van der Guchten's going to come back to finish the power play. Well, the 2 deep fielders. They're deep square and deep mid-wicket. Here comes the Dutchman. Nigel Long has a think about it, but does spread the arms.
Well, just 1 more over the power play to go. And then...
Not sure why Nigel Long had to think about whether that was a wide.
No, it was one of the more clear-cut ones, wasn't it? So Van der Hoofden with the field spread. Oh, and it's bowled in! Well, Van der Hoofden strikes, raises the arms. Good comeback from him after a very tricky first over. And, an important wicket there. Second one gone. Glamorgan get 3 in the power play. Well, they really will feel they're probably in business.
Kind of lost his shape. Kashif Ali trying to drive that one, I think initially through the covers and bottom edged it onto his, or inside edged it onto his stumps. Van der Hoofden getting rewarded for just sticking on a line and length. Kashif Ali, who was a classy batter, but hasn't quite taken to the blast this season goes. And Worcestershire 47 for 2. Kashif went for 5 off 11, I believe.
So that brings Adam Hose, the captain, out to the middle. He's the only player for Worcestershire to have reached 50 in this competition so far this season. 187 runs in total, averaging about just under 25.
Probably the key partnership you'd think for Worcestershire with Hose and Roderick. As you say, there's that off-quoted stat about 3 wickets in the power play in the T20, but I think even more so with the makeup of this Worcestershire team. Well, Abeyas Swanepoel has got some long levers coming in probably at number 6. Clipped to the short mid-wicket, a catching mid-wicket. It's a good aggressive captaincy from Kieran Carlson.
Well, interesting time now at Hose. How does he approach this? The opening pair are both gone. And Does he chance his arm here in the power play? Play a couple of more high risk shots. Because the question is, how confident does he feel in the rest of the batting lineup?
It's actually 2 catches in short extra and short mid wicket. Didn't know an awful lot about that as it came in off the seam. Another inside edge. A scrambled single.
Well, yeah, there's the Sean Dixon who's catching short on the leg side, just going to trot out again. But Kieran Carlson, the skipper, that's regularly his position and was right in the heart of the team. He sets the tone for the Glamorgan field as being close in. I think everyone's looking at him, diving around there, sort of scurrying around, trying to put pressure on any batter who dares try and take a single by dropping the ball down on the offside. That's his job.
Yeah, as you say, Dixon's gone out to deep mid wicket. It's a deep square leg as well as Van der Guchten continues. And it'll be a single. Sean Dixon decides he wants this slight misfield and a simple 2. They say don't run on the misfield. You could run on that one.
Well, a bit frustrated there. I'm sure Dixon will feel. Yeah, he kicks the turf as he walks away and pride themselves on being a good fielding side to Glamorgan. It's definitely been one of the characteristics of this side. Some good athletes who can cover the ground in the boundary on the boundary rope quite well.
We'll have another chance to do the fielding more cleanly this time, although having said that, Hose and Roderick had decided very early there was only one.
Slightly disappointed there wasn't an ironic cheer from the crowd there as he picked that one up. Never mind. Clearly
get on it. Get on it, Glammy. Too early in the afternoon or too late, depending on
yes.
If people were here for the Glamorgan women beating Worcestershire very comfortably in the first part of this Vitality Blast double header.
It was a very good win.
Final ball of the power play, and the deep third comes into view and gets that one nice in cleanly. Single to end the power play. So what was that? 6 off the final over of the power play. Much better from Van der Guchten after a not particularly great first over. And the power play ends with Worcestershire, who chose to bat 52 for 2 wickets. Isaac Mohammed bowled by Ben Callaway, playing all round really, a ball that just went straight onto his off stump, and Kashif Ali chopping on off Tim Van der Guchten.
I think Glamorgan will be quite pleased with that, actually. When Roderick really started to go, I think they were probably maybe expecting to concede more than they have, than 52, but they brought it back well. And this man, Dan Douthwaite, who's going to bowl the first over outside of the power play, well, he bowled very tightly. And in combination with Ben Callaway and Tim Van der Guchten, they've dragged things back a bit. So, yeah, Glamorgan, I think, reasonably pleased.
Just the 4 runs off Douthwaite's first over. Another short ball that hurries the batter. Chris Cook takes off the glove and does his own fielding, beating the deep square leg coming in to get that. Only ever going to be one. Yeah, Gareth Roderick is 35 off 18. No other Worcestershire batter has got past double figures. We can see, I think, what the plan is going to be from the... in fact, now the long on has actually gone back, but to Hose, all of the boundary fielders were square or behind.
Yeah, I don't think they'll mind him just nurdling singles into the leg side here. I think it does look like it's set up for trying to encourage the batters to play sort of shot square of the wicket into those long boundaries. Glamorgan have got some of their best fielders down there. There's Ben Callaway, who's at mid-wicket at the moment, who's a terrific fielder, really kind of a real greyhound around there, runs very quickly.
It's deep square leg, fine leg, deep third, and deep points. That would have been a fantastic catch from Chris Cook, flying top edge on an attempted cut from Adam Hose. Cook leaped. We'll see how close he was to getting anything on this. It's gone for 4 directly over his head.
Yeah, I think in the end it probably, we'll see now, yeah, that has gone quite well.
That's a long way over. It took a pretty significant deflection actually as well.
It did.
So he's just had to wave that one over the crossbar.
Yeah, not much you could do about that, I think.
First boundary for Adam Hose, the Worcestershire captain. Not entirely of his own volition. Fuller again from Douthwaite, and just a clip out to mid-wicket. I think we could pretty much say that the line from Douthwaite is going to be wicket to wicket.
Yeah, I think that's it. The fielders they've got out there, so Asa Tribe is down there at long on. Ben Kellaway, both young men in their 20s, not long out of university, can really sprint around them, and they're confident of being able to marshal that boundary.
Basically, the field is offside up, leg side back.
Yeah.
It's essentially what we've got now.
Another streaky one.
Doesn't. Not entirely sure that your field positioning matters too much when you bowl a short one down the leg side, and Roderick has managed to get a little bit on that. There's a very decent chance that would have been 5 wides anyway, because it was a long way down the leg side.
Yeah, definitely. The radar well off there. I think maybe that's not the worst result, that he actually got a touch to it, because it would have been an extra ball, and the 5, as it is, it's just 4. So probably, strangely, not the worst result from a pretty wild delivery from Douthwaite.
Last ball of the over. Roderick on 40, and he'll clip this out to deep square leg for 1. It will just be 1. Good work from the man out there at deep square leg. End of the 7th. Worcestershire are 64 for 2.
Yeah, a bit more expensive from Dan Douthwaite, that over. The radar going a miss on a couple of balls there, but I think you can sort of see what he was trying to do, test the middle of the wicket out and get the batters to kind of push the ball into the leg side.
I mean, the first one was actually a pretty good bouncer. He was slightly unlucky that the top edge went so far away from Chris. The second one was a really poor ball. And spin again. Spin from the Cathedral end. Mason Crane, of whom I am a big fan. His sort of mini redemption arc since coming to Glamorgan in the last round of the championship with bat and ball has been really heartening. Googly outside off stump, and does his own fielding, as all spinners are contractually obliged to do in the middle overs of a T20, because you never have a short mid-wicket.
He's having another great season, but I think the thing for Mason Crane this year is actually his batting has almost been a standout feature.
Championship 50, Championship 100 the other week against Surrey.
First class he got a 99 when everyone felt very upset that he didn't manage it, and then he just waited a couple of weeks and then got 100.
Back to the leggy this time, slightly out the front of the hand. And this time it's Chris Cook who does the fielding at the short mid-wicket, which there isn't. Almost a standard field for a spinner at this point in a T20. Got deep point, long on, long off, deep mid-wicket, deep square leg. Then up in the ring you've got the short fine leg, the short third, the backward point. And Kieran Carlson, the skipper, menacingly at short extra.
Well, I think Crane has been probably Glamorgan's best signing over the last few years. Brilliant in all the formats. Has been a really a weapon in the championship as well as the white ball cricket, and such an effective performer. Just took 4 wickets in a recent match.
3 singles off the first ball, 3 balls of this over, make that 4. Mixing it up, another googly. Douthwaite flinging the ball in angrily.
And he's been getting valuable runs with the bat as well. He'll probably bat 10 or even 11 in this side. So Glamorgan do have a strong batting lineup as well.
They'll be hoping not to be used with the bat. That's a lovely delivery. Held that back a little bit slower. Roderick swept right over the top of that. Lovely shape he gets out on those leggies, Mason Crane.
Well, he tried to get across there outside of off stump. Did Roderick to play the sweep, and it turned away from him. Goes again, similar sort of shot, makes good contact.
A bit of tumbling from Sean Dixon, but I think that was always going to be too good. Throw in over the top of the stumps as well, but well run by Hose and Roderick. 6 runs off Mason Crane's first over. Worcestershire 70 for 2 after 8, having won the toss and elected to bat. Yeah, Mason Crane is one of those. It's one of those cricketers. I think he'd be more likely to be picked for England if he hadn't already been picked for England.
Yes,
he got picked for that Sydney Test in 2018, and as a lot of cricketers have done, coming in at the tail end of a losing Ashes series is not always the gig you want. 2018, it was 2018, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And he wasn't ready.
Well, I think he got his first international wicket here at Sapphire Gardens, and I think it was A.B. de Villiers. I remember him here watching it and caught sweep shot, caught a deep square leg, and he, I guess, always had good memories of Cardiff. I wonder if that was one of the reasons why he eventually signed here.
McAndrew back into the attack at the River Taff end, went for 16 off his first over, and that's a poor bit of fielding by Asa Tribe. It was hit firmly-ish, but more or less straight to him, and he's let that roll through his legs onto the sponge. onto the rope rather, the de-sponged rope. A gimme of 4.
Well,
couple of little errors in the ground fielding.
They have. That's not the best start. And to the over, should have just been 1, as it was is 4.
McAndrew, almost as in anger at the misfield, bowls the next one halfway down the track. Gets pulled out to deep square leg for 1.
And that probably almost inviting Roderick to say, well, here's a short ball. You can play it to the leg side. Are you good enough to hit it over square leg's head? Roderick at the moment maybe deciding that taking a single is the better option, rather than trying to smash it into the pavilion.
Roderick on 45. Big dipping slower ball, slightly too full. Roderick frees his arms and sends it flying over mid-off for 4.
Yeah, good shot. Ball pitched up there, and well, you thought he might be sort of sitting on the back foot as some shorter balls were coming his way, but fair play to him. As soon as he was up there, got his weight through the ball and hit it very cleanly straight over mid-off's head. So he just now moves just a 1 run shy of his half century.
9 runs off the first 3 balls of the over, and another semi-misfield. There might have been 1 there anyway, but in fact they are going to come through for 2. Van der Huchten tried to slide tackle it rather than picking it up, and Gareth Roderick with that too goes to 50, 51 off 27 balls, just his second ever T20 half century for the man born in Durban, playing for Worcestershire for some time now. The keeper, 51 off 27 balls.
1, 6 and 7 fours.
Fine hit it was as well from Roderick down the ground. He has taken a bit of a liking to Nathan McAndrew actually in this game. What can the big Australian come back with? He will come back with a slow ball bouncer that Gareth Roderick pulls away for 1.
Well, that's a good ball here, you think. Slow ball bouncer. It's a ball that, well, you're hoping that the batter will misjudge the pace and knock the ball up into the air, ideally for one of those fielders down in the deep on the leg side to catch.
And almost more importantly, it's going to be difficult unless you get a really, really good contact to hit that away for anything more than 1.
Yeah, absolutely. It feels like quite a safe option.
Last ball of what's been an expensive over. Is that going to be caught? No, it's going to fall short. I'm not entirely sure what that hit, I have to say, from Hose. It was a good bouncer from McAndrew that Hose got into no position at all to play. Looped up and bounced short of Cook off, what did that hit? Glove, I think.
Gloves, I think, yeah, almost, maybe even right at the end of the bat, the end of the handle. And yeah, in the end, fell right between Tim van der Huchten advancing and Chris Cook. And I think then as he was running down the wicket as well, bumped into Tim van der Huchten as well. The bowler on his way down, but in the end successfully negotiated the single. So, well, a little half chance there from the ball banged in, but 83 for 2 after 9. I think Worcestershire will be reasonably happy. I think they pushed on quite nicely after the power play. Have pretty much added, well, 8 or 9 runs and over since then. And
yeah, I mean they've actually looked considerably better out of the power play than they did during it, by and large. Gareth Roderick's 52 doing the bulk of the work. Adam Hose is taking a painkiller actually after that hit on the glove from Nathan McAndrew, which we are going to see again right on cue. I think it was glove, but because he was trying to pull, the glove was going in the opposite direction, so that it sort of took all of the pace out of it. It's not like it sort of glanced off the glove, so it almost took the pace off it, which is why it ended up looping short of Chris Cook trying to take the catch. But it was a good final delivery from McAndrew in what has not been an especially good spell by his standards.
No, I think he's found it difficult to get the control he would have liked to have. So Mason Crane was efficient. His first over just went for 6.
He's bowled him. Hose wasn't sure whether to commit to the cut shot. He didn't really commit to the cut shot and chops it onto the base of off stump. So just as Glamorgan were thinking we need to break this partnership, Mason Crane breaks this partnership.
Well, he has got a really good habit of doing that often. Sometimes when his team's under pressure and really need a wicket, he's a go-to man. And landing the ball there in a very challenging area where the batter probably not sure which way it's going to go. I don't know whether he picked it. Oh, well, he did just try and cut that away. The ball turned away, got an inside edge straight onto off stump. So a little bit fortuitous maybe, but Glamorgan will definitely take it at this stage.
I think he has induced a little bit of uncertainty because Adam Hose, the Worcestershire captain who's just been dismissed, definitely knows that Crane has the googly. So he's not entirely sure about committing to it. Adam Hose gone for 16 off 12 with 2 boundaries. And Henry Cullen getting promoted up the order in the absence of Secunda Raza to number 5. Comes in with Worcestershire 83 for 3.
So a chance here for Glamorgan now. So this will be a real chance just to test the depth of this Worcestershire batting lineup. You think if Glamorgan could get another 1 or 2 wickets in fairly quick order, well, they'll really feel they're in the box seat.
Googly to start with. See, there's a lot from a lot of wrist spinners. They bowl the change up first up to a new batter just to show them that they've got it. Possibly should have been stopped by Kieran Carlson at short extra, but it come through for a single. And Gareth Roderick, even more pressure on him now. 52 off 28. He's bowled terrifically, batted terrifically, but he's probably got to carry most of what Worcestershire are going to do. Semi-shouts of catch it before Worcestershire realised they didn't actually have a mid-off, and the ball rolls down to long off.
Well, Glamorgan have got a fielder off the field at the moment. Just trying to work out who it is, because Henry Hurl's on the field down in front of us, who's doing the 12th man duties today. So is it Jimmy Neesham? I don't know. I'm just looking around to see who might be off.
Hurl's down there at long on. Coming down the track, but happy to come down the track in defence. Smale does the work coming in off the long off fence. So Henry Cullen prior to this game had only faced 8 balls in fact once this season in the blast, and only 12 not out of 8. Usually bats lower down the order. He was carded 9, although not needed in the win against Kent.
So Henry Hurl into action now. I think
outstanding.
Forward roll.
Outstanding. Full toss. A shot not particularly well hit by Gareth Roderick, and then Henry Hurl looked like he'd misjudged the ball with the fielder. We're seeing this now on the replay. Gets to it, topples over, his hat falls off, does a perfect forward somersault. His cap goes through his legs and he flings the ball back in. Excellent work, excellent entertainment all round.
I'll give that man a BAGA gymnastics badge. I think you could probably get a sew-on badge for doing a forward roll as good as that.
Outstanding work. All it needed was an oversized blue crash mat as Roderick pushes one for a single. Another good over from Crane. He's gone 1 for 11 off his 2, and at the halfway stage, Worcestershire, having won the toss and elected to bat at 88 for 3. Ben Cullens on 3 off 3. Gareth Roderick 54 off 30.
Well, I think it was Nathan McAndrew who'd gone off for a break there, and this is Henry Hurl again. Here we go. Up and over. Lovely forward roll, beautifully executed. All he needed to do was stand there and put his hands in the air, and then various people putting 10s and 9.5s around the ground.
The little use of the right hand at the perfect moment just to continue that forward momentum. Excellent form.
So it's Jimmy Neesham then coming in from the River Taff end, and they think about a single. Good piece of work there from Sean Dixon at backward point. Made them think twice about the single. Cullum sent back by Roderick. So Roderick looking good, 54 from 30. He feels like a key man. How long can he stay out there? Can he keep it going at this sort of rate? You feel like if he can, well, will they be eyeing sort of 180 plus if they can go well here, Worcestershire?
I think that's probably what they would have been eyeing up from the start, having won the toss and batted first.
So just a single down to Dan Dalthwaite there.
You'll see a lot of cutters and split finger slower balls and back of the hand slower balls from Jimmy Neesham. He's got pretty much the full arsenal of change ups, the New Zealander.
So again, Fielder saving one on the offside, but all out on the boundary on the leg side, 4 of them, all the way round from mid on to fine leg. Brings them into action. It's Ben Kellaway who's going to do the fielding. Again, another single.
I think Neesham might even be bowling cross seam here, just to introduce another element of uncertainty.
Yeah, try and vary the speed that the ball comes off the surface. Maybe just induce a bit of movement either way.
He's taken his wickets in sort of clumps this year. Went three games wicketless when he came in for Faisal Haq Farooqi. Then took 3 in a game at Blackpool. Then none. Then took 1 here against the Bears on Friday.
Paul's hit hard, but it's just going to be one bounce straight into the hands of deep square leg. I think it's Mason Crane doing the fielding.
Roderick has actually been slightly starved of the strike in the last few overs, which I think has contributed actually to Adam Howe's in his slight uncertainty in the attempted cut that got him dismissed off Mason Crane. Because it's interesting the sort of phases this innings has gone in. Sort of started, there was the little bit of a slowdown before the loss of the openers, or either side of the loss of the openers. Then there was that real hurry up from Roderick, kind of tail end of the power play, and then those few overs, and then Glamorgan have got a little bit of control back in the last couple of overs.
Makes himself a little bit of room as Roderick. It's just going to be a single. So tight stuff from Neesham so far, just 4 singles and 1 ball of the over left. Just trying to peg Worcestershire back now. Try and get their rate under 8 at the moment, going just about 8.5 and over. And a key time these middle overs. Glamorgan can get a couple of wickets and start bringing the Worcestershire tail out into the middle. Well, they really will feel they've got a chance of restricting them to a below par score. Just evades Chris Cook, but only going to be 1. Well,
about 3 shots in 1 ball there.
Yeah, and that's trying to improvise, trying to get a ramp. Of course, it's a premeditated shot. I think Neesham kind of saw it coming and threw it quite wide. So Roderick adjusted and tried to flick it behind him on the offside, and as it was, didn't get very strong contact, only just evaded the keeper on the bounce, and they take a single. So a very tidy over, just dealing in singles. Glamorgan will be happy with that. And Worcestershire Rapids 93 for 3 now off 11, 9 overs left. And Ben Kellaway returns to the attack here from the Cathedral Road end. Figures of 1 for 17 from his 2 overs so far. And we'll try just to keep things tight again. Fine leg is up. Could this be out? In the air, should be a simple catch, and it is. Tim van der Hoogten takes the catch, and an immediate impact from the return of Ben Kellaway. He's induced a top edge from Henry Cullen, and Glamorgan have another wicket.
Sort of went down in instalments for that reverse sweep. It didn't have a great deal of authority to it, and Kellaway getting reward again, as the spinners have done throughout the innings of bowling wicket to wicket. The short third was up, so the shot was on, but it was just too close to him in terms of line to play that shot. And really, really simple catch for Van der Hoogten, and the pressure continues to mount on Gareth Roderick.
Well, yeah, Roderick, he is the key man here. Can he get enough support from this middle and lower order of the Worcestershire lineup to stick with him? Can someone help him and hang around for a while? And, well, it's Asam Amir, the Pakistan international, who's come out to join him. Can he stay around for a while? Kellaway, that's his second wicket, so figures of 2 for 17. Worcestershire now 93 for 4. And I think they maybe sense a key moment. This feels like a key couple of overs here, which could decide the trajectory of this Worcestershire innings. Goes hard at the first one. Is it down Asa Tribe's throat? It is! just makes sure, throws the ball up, casually steps the foot over and steps back. Easy as you like.
Just didn't get enough on the hit, did he? It's not a particularly long straight boundary at Sophia Gardens, and it was there to be hit for Assam Mamir. I was just looking at the fact that he's actually not scored. He's only got out of single figures once this season in the Blast. Interesting to see him promoted above Bayer Swanepoel, but he just didn't get enough on it. And Asa Tribe, I like the.
Well, it was total nonchalance, wasn't it? Total nonchalance almost. Well, the camera. Oh, I think the cameraman didn't catch it that time. Maybe we can see from this angle. Here it goes.
Yeah, the absolute too cool for school of Asa Tribe. Took the catch, had almost sort of completed his motion, and then just to make absolutely sure he didn't go over the rope down here at the Cathedral Roll, then tossed it up, took literally one step. His front foot didn't move at all. One step, sort of almost like he's playing Dance Dance Revolution. Touchdown, back, simple catch.
Well, I think since the weight was back on his heels, wasn't it there? And he was sort of rocking back. I don't think his feet actually moved at any point for the moment the ball was hit to when he caught it.
No, just pivoting at the end. Just pivoting, and now Ben Calloway's on a hat-trick.
Well, here we go. So the slip's gone in for Calloway's hat-trick. Kieran Carlson has moved up to a short catch and cover position. Calloway to Swanepoel on a hat-trick. And he survives. The hands go up. The ooze in the crowd.
That was a beautiful "aww" in the crowd as the hat-trick didn't come to fruition. Like a child who's been denied ice cream.
So, Glamorgan definitely will feel they're on top now. The run rate dropping a little bit here as well. Of course, as well as the double wickets, only one ball from the first 3 overs here. And I wouldn't be surprised if Worcestershire just feel they've got to make sure there isn't a big tumble of wickets here now, having lost 2 in quick succession.
We were talking about the potential of 180. Are we now at the point where Worcestershire try and adjust their sights down to sort of make sure we get 160? I have to say, I don't think 160 is enough on this pitch.
No, I think you're right. I think Glamorgan will be very confident of chasing 160. They chased I think 185 the other night and got it in the penultimate over. Well, that's a nice looking shot. Swanepoel has driven that through the covers from a full delivery. Just beat the diving Sean Dixon and, a vital boundary. Just don't want this run rate to fall too far. And that's always, wickets often slow down a team's progress where there's an inevitable process of rebuilding, and just caution just enters the minds of the batter, not wanting there to be a full-scale collapse. But Swanepoel has hit that half volley away very nicely. Works a straight ball this time on the leg side. So, well, we've said this about a number of the partnerships on the way down. Is this going to be the key partnership? From a Worcestershire perspective, it's important that Roderick's here as the Worcestershire 100 comes up. 100 for 5 after 12 overs. And, it's been a good period for Glamorgan. They really have tightened things up. And, as they did in the last game, it looks like Asa Tribe is going to have a bowl. Well, I know he wanted to bowl a bit more. Was seen as very much a part-time bowler. But he bowled an over against Warwickshire on Friday night. Did very, very well as well. And here we're going to see a little bit more of his Sunil Narain style off spinners. On the money straight away. Interesting thing about this style, if you watch his what he does with the ball before he bowls,
he hides it behind his back.
He passes it from the left hand to the right hand, almost part of his bowling action, kind of round his back.
That's a slight variation than the Narain, because the Narain just holds it starting in the right hand to hide the ball behind his back. I would be very surprised if Asa Tribe has a Karen ball.
Again, just another single. Well, this is probably what they want. They really don't mind. 6 singles would do very nicely at this stage.
Actually, the tactical value of this is quite useful. Nathan McAndrew has not had a particularly good day with the ball, so if you could just get an extra over from one of your change bowlers.
They're going to have to hurry. In the end, I think he might just have made it there. It was Swanepoel who was running down to what turned out to be the danger end. And I think Probably just made it as Chris Cook shied at the stumps. Cook will be a bit disappointed he didn't hit there. A welcome dot ball. Well, it's good stuff from Tribe so far.
And never taken a T20 wicket in senior cricket, including in all of his time playing for Jersey. But he's been pretty tidy in this over, as he was on Friday.
In the air. Just going to be one again.
I think that's a sign of some of the tension that has come into this Worcestershire innings. That was a full toss, and that's got to be taken advantage of, and they were taking advantage of that earlier in the innings. And now suddenly there's a little bit of tightness in the stroke making.
Will Smell just runs round. It's just going to be one more. Well, he's done his job there as Ace of Tribe. Just 5 singles from it. Healthy applause round the ground because they know he's done a good job there. Just pegging back this Worcestershire run rate even more there. And, well, confident lad is Ace of Tribe. He would want to be part of the action all the time, whether it's in the field with the bat in hand or now with the ball. He wants to be involved, really believes in his abilities and what he can do. And he's done a nice little job for his team there. Just 5 singles from the over. And gets the applause here of the crowd in front of us. Just under the commentary box as he returns to his position again.
Takes an extremely cool catch, bowls a very tidy over while doing an impression of Sunil Narayan. Is there anything he can't do?
So Mason Crane back into the attack with his leg spinners, bowling to the left-handed Swanepoel. So it feels like the squeeze is on here from Glamorgan. Just putting the squeeze on, cutting off the boundaries. Swanepoel had a couple of overs ago, but there's not been much on offer. In the air, chance, just drops short of McAndrew. Again, false stroke.
It's a little bit slow to get going, wasn't he, McAndrew, at short third? We'll see it again. He was slightly always on his heels and decided quite early that catch wasn't coming to him, so decided to just hold fire and make sure it was no more than one.
So Gareth Roderick, 59 not out, has played really well. And that is big. Well, that's massive. What a wonderful hit into the main stand. Has cleared the boundary by some 20 metres. And signs that if Glamorgan want to restrict Worcestershire, they're going to have to deal with Gareth Roderick.
First boundary for some time, and I think a pretty good catch in the crowd, if I'm not mistaken. Oh no, through his hands. He tried to maintain that he'd taken it, but no, he didn't.
Goes the other side this time. Got a good connection, and that's going to run away too. Back-to-back boundaries from Roderick. And I think he sensed that just cannot let the Glamorgan bowlers dictate to them now. The pressure was building, and he felt he needed to take some risks. And they've come off 2 beautiful shots to really start picking up the momentum again for Worcestershire.
And neither of them off particularly bad deliveries, but manufacturing boundaries off perfectly adequate balls from Mason Crane. And now he's put a little bit of pressure on Mason Crane for the first time really in his bowling spell. He's had a chat with Kieran Carlson about what the plan is. I mean, it looks like the field is exactly the same.
Drive straight to Carlson, who fizzes the ball back. A welcome dot. The crowd here clapping every dot ball. They know how important it is. So, last ball of the over. Glamorgan will hope just to keep this tight, to exit this over well. Roderick swings across the line. It's only going to be one though. Straight to Sean Dixon. And 12 from it. Better over for Worcestershire. And now with 6 overs left, 117 for 5. They're cool if you were a betting man and had to decide, well, what sort of total they're going to get, or what total should they be thinking of getting. Perhaps that's more to the point. What should they be, Worcestershire be aiming for now, having got themselves to this position?
I think you'd want close to 10s off the last 6 overs, but with the relative paucity of resources apart from Gareth Roderick, I think that, so let's say if they go if they go 8 and over from here, they will get to 165. So I think 170, I think, would have to be an absolute minimum from here. I think if they're going to do that, Gareth Roderick has got to do a lot of the work.
Yeah, well, it feels like Glamorgan have managed his middle overs pretty well. I think Roderick, though, remains the danger man. On strike now to Jimmy Neesham. Full delivery, just dug out for a single.
It's good from batter and bowler that. Roderick backed away because there's no one in front of square on the boundary on the offside, and Neesham followed him into the block hole. Baz Swanepoel, who's now on strike, he has played a fair bit of T20 cricket, as you'd imagine. 28-year-old, played 48 T20 games. Only one past 50, and in a few games in the Blast and a couple of seasons in the SA20, his highest score in all of those games is 8. Very much used more as a bowler in the Blast for Kent in 2024 and in a couple of seasons for Sunrisers Eastern Cape.
Well, he's into double figures here. 10 from 8 balls. Comes down the wicket, drives straight. The race is on for the fielder down there at long on. Gets round well. Does Nathan McAndrew. Keeps them to a single.
Gareth Roderick has equalled his highest first-class score with that single off the first-class highest T20 score with that single off the first ball of this over.
Yeah, could be important knock, this one. Feels like he's the key man. And can he keep going? It won't be about personal milestones for him. He'll want to put his side in a good position, but he must be in a chance here, you think, of looking at 3 figures. And a leave. That's a kind of a rare thing at this stage. I think he was rather hoping to see the umpire's arms extended there. He stepped away to make himself room, didn't he? And it probably felt a long way away.
It was almost like he'd forgotten he'd backed away. Because if you sort of move that over to the right, it is a wide, but because everything is essentially moved over to the left, that's not a wide. Well bowled by Jimmy Neesham, getting that wide Yorker inside the tram line.
Well, third man is up here, and so there is a chance of cutting that sort of full wide Yorker away, and he's bowled him. Neesham has bowled him, hit the leg stump. Roderick, the danger man, who's batted so well and on whom Worcestershire's chances seem to depend. Well, he's gone for 71. Jimmy Neesham, the experienced Kiwi, strikes, uses all of his nous, and you have to say, as the 6th wicket falls for Worcestershire, Glamorgan now have put themselves in a very strong position to restrict this Worcestershire total.
Terrific work from Neesham. He'd been terrific, really, up until this point, just with his sheer economy rate and the fact that he was bowling exactly the right lines and lengths on this wicket. They were playing it on the big scoreboard here at Sophia Gardens, and he got another little cheer, bowled him round his legs. Again, really good adjustment to Roderick's movement. Went outside off stump. Deciding rather than following this time, thought he was going to try and sneak it round the back, and he did. Perfect base of leg stump Yorker. See bowlers doing those drills where they have the cones set up on different lines for Yorkers, and they get told at the very last second which one to hit, and that's what all of that drilling is for. Really, really good from Jimmy Neesham to end a terrific innings from Roderick, and 119 for 6 in the 15th put Glamorgan in something of a measure of control.
So Matthew Waite, the new batsman. Oh, and the ball almost bounces onto the stumps there. There's an appeal as Neesham kicks the ball onto the stumps. Chris Cook seems convinced, but the umpire is not. I'm not sure. Did the ball knock the stumps off, or was it someone else?
I think he did side foot it onto the stumps. Someone booed in the crowd when the umpire decided not to give that out. Seeing this on the replay, had absolutely no idea where the ball had gone, and I think Neesham kicked the stumps rather than the ball.
Yes, that's what I thought. I wasn't sure it was the ball. Yeah. So that's an interesting question. In a run out, if the ball is connected, if a foot connects to the ball which is connected to the stumps.
Well, if you sort of trap the ball onto
the ball, would that be out?
I think if you trapped the ball onto the stumps, it would be. But if you missed the ball, if you air kick and kick the stumps, as Jimmy Neesham just did, I think that might well have been out if he'd been able to actually side foot the ball onto the stump, because Waite had absolutely no idea where the ball had gone.
No. Well, the net result is a dot ball for all that drama, and it's the final ball of Neesham's over. They're going to scurry through a single. They're going to have to be quick. and I think probably would have just made it. Neesham's head in his hands. He thought it was close. And it's well bowled again from Jimmy Neesham. Another tight over from him as we just watch the replay of this little scramble. Let's have a look. Would it have been close? Well, no, I think he was in. Just in by a couple of inches.
Despite having to circumnavigate Jimmy Neesham.
So we're into the last 5 overs, and well, Nakul, as you take us into this conclusion of the Worcestershire innings, I think it feels that Glamorgan will definitely feel they're on top. The home side here sense it as well. They've squeezed these middle overs, and we're very much into the tail now here for Worcestershire.
Matthew Waite facing up to Mason Crane, starting his last over, and gets himself into an almighty tangle there, just trying to nudge that into the onside and failing to.
So just trying to work out here how they'll navigate the final 5 overs. This is the last over Mason Crane. Ben Kellaway's got one, and then choices really. A number of bowlers have bowled 2, so
dealer's choice really for the skipper. Lovely delivery from Crane, big turning leggy. Waite has a swing at it, and good work again from Chris Cook, who's been very good behind the stumps today.
Well, you'd probably think Jimmy Neesham has bowled so nicely. He's only gone for 8 runs from his 2 overs, 1 for 8. You wouldn't be surprised to see him keep going.
Doesn't tend to bowl at the death, but go with the man in form, as it were. Googly, I think, from Crane. Waite stretches forward to clip a single out to the on-rushing Sean Dixon from deep mid-wicket. But yeah, Callaway's got 1 left. Van der Gucht and McAndrew and Douthwaite have all got 1 left each, or 2 left each, rather, yeah. As does Neesham. So Kieran Carlson can really go with whatever matchup and gut feel he thinks is going to work. Left-hander Swanepoel on strike. Is that going to be caught at deep square leg? It is going to be caught at deep square leg. Simple catch for the man Kellaway coming in off the fence, Ben Kellaway. So the spinners helping each other out, and Mason Crane gets his second. There's Swanepoel's Worcestershire T20 debut, ends with him 11 off 10, caught in the deep by Kellaway off the bowling of Mason Crane. Worcestershire 121 for 7.
Well deserved second wicket for Mason Crane, and there won't be many easier catches in the deep here. Ben Kellaway had plenty of time to see it. Yeah, never looked like troubling the boundary, and didn't have far to move. Straight in to the bread basket, and an easy catch. And the 7th wicket for Glamorgan, and it feels that things are really swinging their way now. You know, Worcestershire now, I mean, I think they might be pleased if they can get up to 150 or 150, 160. Looks like it is going to be harder for them to post a total anything north of 170, barring an incredible burst of hitting here. But you'd think, as we're getting well into the tail now, it's probably unlikely to happen unless someone really has a golden day.
It's a sign of how well Kieran Carlson thinks this is going that he's put a slip in for Tom Taylor, the Worcestershire number 9. That's surely not given by Nigel Long. Attempted reverse sweep from Taylor, maybe just outside the line of off stump.
Did it quite turn enough? Did it straighten? In fact,
it's a leg break turning away, isn't it? So it's actually going to turn past the off stump.
Possibly, yeah, umpire's call if there was such a thing in this format. Yeah, it was tight.
Slip has gone out after 1 ball. Googly, that's also not going to be given LBW. That's hit him outside the line. Chance of a run out. The throw hits Tom Taylor. All sorts happening off that delivery. To talk you through the chronological sequence of events, Mason Crane bowled to Googly. Tom Taylor tried to sweep it. Or tried to work it to leg. It's hit him well outside the line of off stump. The non-striker wanted the single. The striker was trying to work out whether he'd been given out LBW. The throw came in, hit the striker, and after all that, 1 run.
Well, it's a bit harum-scarum now, and that probably, that 1 ball maybe slightly sums up how this Worcestershire innings feels at the moment. It does feel that it's slightly imploded on itself here.
I mean, to back that up, after 9 overs, they were 83 for 2. They're now 121 for 7, 122 for 7 to start the 16th. Excellent spell by Mason Crane. 4 overs, 2 for 24. 9 dot balls in those 4 overs as well. And you were right, this is going to be Jimmy Neesham to continue, starting the 17th. was a leg by after all that, so Taylor not off the mark. And not off the mark yet with that one either. Pushing a single to Kieran Carlson at short extra.
Well, very tough time for these two batters now, coming in the tail, knowing that, well, they've got to... Really, I suppose the main thing for these batters is just to make sure they use all their balls. That's the first one. That
which is not the mindset you want to be in a T20.
No. I mean, that's a good question. What do? Try and bat them or have a swing and hope for the best? I mean, probably, given their inexperience and probably the quality of the bowling coming at them, maybe best to try and hang around for a bit.
Chance of a run out at the striker's end, and it will be interesting to see that on the replay because that was a good pick up and turn and throw on the turn from Kieran Carlson.
Well, the question for me here is, did Carlson go to the right end? Because the non-striker dawdled. If he'd maybe gone and didn't have to do that full switch and turn, I wonder whether if he'd thrown to the other end, I think actually he might have got him.
I think as it was, it would have been out with a hit at the striker's end anyway.
It was maybe that little spin put him slightly off balance. Well, he had a choice of two. As it was, he missed. So we'll never know.
End result, Tom Taylor off the mark with one. They're not going to take a single that time. Short third does well. Live wire. Glamorgan, there were a couple of misfields. There was a poor one from Asa Tribe and a more or a less costly one from Sean Dixon. But both of them have rebounded well. It was Dixon who did that piece of fielding just now. Short third comes up. Van der Guchten comes up into the ring and mid off goes back to long off. So it's deep point, long off, long on, deep square leg, and deep mid wicket. To the latter of those. This one goes from Taylor for a single. Two singles off the first four balls of the 17th over. And I think that dilemma we were talking about do you try and stick or twist, has kind of paralysed almost every Worcestershire batter apart from Gareth Roderick today.
Yeah, it has. And I think these two, it's a difficult dilemma. I mean, you think they've just got to do the basics well, run hard, try and see if they can pick up twos by knocking the ball into the spaces. And at this ground, there are a few sort of deep corners if you can get the ball down there. But Neesham showing all his experience here, not really giving them anything to hit.
Yeah, that was
his job, just to try and kill off any chance of a boundary that would be the only thing that could really, you think, get Worcestershire up to anything like a genuinely competitive total if they had a flurry of boundaries.
Don't bowl anything wide and in the slot, basically. That one wasn't as close as you get to a baseball bunt in cricket. That one down to long on.
No, I think 6 and over would suit Glamorgan very well here.
Only 3 off this one so far. Make that 4. Yep, Asa Tribe does the needful down there at the River Taff end. At the long on boundary. Another brilliant over from Jimmy Neesham. Just the 4 runs off it. Worcestershire 126 for 7.
Yeah, good stuff from Neesham. It's been the pick of the bowlers really here. Very, very tight. Some superb bowling. 1 for 12 from his 3 so far. And, well, it wouldn't surprise me. I think these batters don't look particularly threatening, whether they might keep him going, really. There's the danger if they bring on someone who's a little bit quicker and livelier, the edges could fly to the boundary. So, as it is, he seems to know what he's doing, and I wouldn't be surprised if they keep him going. But as it is, Dan Douthwaite returns at Cathedral Road end.
Plenty of options. So Douthwaite to bowl this, the 18th, could easily bowl the 20th because he's got 2 left, none for 16 off his 2 overs thus far. Another chance of a run out, but Carlson can't pick it up cleanly.
Yeah, Douthwaite
an ironic way from someone in the crowd, which is a nice position. It's nice to be able to do that when your team is winning.
Yeah, Dan Douthwaite here is one of the bowlers who does bowl at the death. Bowling Yorkers and a variation of slow ball bouncers. Got some nice variations, but can really get the ball through when he puts his back into it as well.
Wider on the crease, clubbed down the ground from Taylor. 1 bounce, hops into the arms of Asa Tribe. You wouldn't be that surprised if it's maybe Douthwaite for this the 19th and the 20th. Oh, sorry, this the 18th and the 20th with Neesham bowling the 19th.
Yeah, that could certainly be an option. I mean, McAndrew traditionally has been pretty tight as well, but has had a harder day today. But it looks like Douthwaite is probably best placed.
That muscular action.
Very square on kind of action, isn't it? He sort of ambles in, and then lots of power, explosive power at the crease. Yeah, he's kind of all action sort of figure, really. He sort of loves the big moments, kind of diving around in the field, smashing one-handed 60s and sort of, bowling rapid bouncers and knocking stumps out the ground's really his game.
3 singles off the first 3 balls of the over. Again, make that 4 from 4. Will they try and come back for 2? No, they won't. The throw comes in.
Yeah, Neesham
nice and
ambled
quickly.
a little bit towards the ball there. I think they made them think about second for a while.
Do you think he was trying to bait them to come back for a second?
Well, it could be. That's, I suppose, someone with his experience kind of wouldn't surprise you. There's a bit of kidology there, but he seemed to amble around a little bit. Needed to sort of pick up his speed just as he noticed the ball had been hit quite well, and kept it to a single.
Wait on strike now. Wide Yorker from Douthwaite. He aborts his follow through and decides to turn and go back to the top of his mark.
I think was probably relieved. Wanted to spin round quickly just to see if the umpire signals are wide there. Was it probably on the margin?
Well, I think the other point is we're 5 minutes away from the cut-off.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that Douthwaite is trying to make sure that they don't have to bring another fielder up in the last over. That won't help that, because that's gone for 4. Nicely placed by Matthew Waite.
But you know what, that's interesting that you wonder whether the fact he got that ball slightly askew, a little bit offline, was maybe because he was rushing through a little bit and maybe just forced him to just go offline a little bit. Yeah, it's interesting to watch the clock here. And just Glamorgan will hope they can get through their overs.
A welcome boundary for Matthew Waite and for Worcestershire. They're 134 for 7 with 2 overs to go. It is going to be Jimmy Neesham, as we'd speculated, to bowl the 19th. He's been mostly bowling in the middle overs through this season, but as we've talked about, he's done pretty much everything in his now 16-year T20 career.
It's Nathan McAndrew, in fact, I think they
in fact,
got the wrong graphic on, yeah.
Other side of the Tasman Sea. Down the ground, is that going to be caught? Oh, nearly a spectacular catch from Sean Dixon. Had to run round to his right from long off and palmed it over the rope for 6.
Yeah, to use goalkeeping parlance, he's tipped that one over the bar there, I think.
Did he have more time than he realised? He's got a stable base, and actually he's got a pretty good hand on that. He could almost have gone with 2 hands, and it's gone through that right hand of his.
Probably if the rope wasn't there, he may have jumped slightly differently, but as it was, he's tried to do a jump where he would land with his feet inside the rope, and I think that made it a slightly awkward catch in the end. I think if it had stuck, he would have landed probably with his balance quite nicely inside the rope, and well, it would have been one of those catches I think we'd be replaying for years to come.
We saw Ace of Tribe down this end do the old step out and step back in.
Yeah, that felt a little bit harder, didn't it, that one, where Ace of Tribe didn't have to move at all and literally just stood still and caught it with then the little step over just to make sure he didn't wobble over the rope. That time Dixon had to sprint and leap and hope to catch it one-handed. It was a lot to ask, and I don't think we'll blame him too much.
This one's skewed out towards cover. Does well Douthwaite to adjust to the fact that the ball's spinning to his right. To finish off all of the work that the fielder that Sean Dixon had to do down there at long off, he then had to go and retrieve the ball from behind the covers.
Yes, indeed. That's the final insult. Yeah. Well, it feels like, I imagine there's some oohs and ahs in the crowd, and I can imagine there being a few catches or near catches in this last period as the tail just tried to swing for a few boundaries. Another
swings for that one, and that is brilliantly caught. Brilliant catch at deep square leg, one-handed, saying to Sean Dixon, that's how you do it, mate. It's fantastic work. Jimmy Neesham out there on the deep square leg boundary. It was hit hard, it was hit flat. Fantastic work from the Kiwi out there at deep square leg, helping out his Australian teammate.
Well, we're talking about catches that may end up getting replayed a lot, and you'll no doubt see on your social media feed later on this evening. And I think this is in that category. McAndrew went short. It was picked up over square leg, and let's look. Neesham goes one-handed, grabs it with the right hand, lands inside the rope, and just runs away nonchalantly, rolls the ball back, and made that look incredibly easy, even though it was a remarkably difficult catch. Well, that is absolutely brilliant from Neesham.
Well, there's so many good things about that catch. The footwork before the ball even got to him was fantastic, because he did his footwork early, which meant that he only had to worry about whether the ball was going over the rope. He didn't have to worry about the sort of lateral movement of it. Got himself set, timed his jump to perfection, plucked it out of the air one-handed. Fantastic work to remove Matthew Waite. As the next ball is just pushed for a single, possibly two, no, just a single by Ben Allison. But that was absolutely terrific boundary fielding work by Jimmy Neesham.
Yeah, great catch. And Glamorgan really dominant now in the closing stages of this Worcestershire innings. 1-4-2 for 8 now, with just 8 balls left. And, 8 singles will get them to 150. They'll hope for a couple of boundaries or better. Can they get anywhere near 160 and try and give this Glamorgan side any sort of challenging total to chase?
Here comes McAndrew's slower ball. Too good for Tom Taylor, who has a swing, no ding. He's come back well after being hit for 6 first ball of the over, albeit it was dropped over the fence. Matthew Waite, by the way, gone for 10 off 13 with one boundary. We're going to see that catch again. No, we're going to see the last delivery, which was nicely bowled by McAndrew.
Well, yeah, Garrett Roderick did put him under pressure early on, but now I think bowling at the tail, it feels like a slightly different game here for McAndrew.
Last ball for him today. Ooh. Short into the pitch. That's gone very high, and it's gone only just long enough. It only just landed over the fence at mid-wicket. Ben Kellaway was interested right up until the point that it plopped down over the mid-wicket fence. So six is to bookend the over.
Well, fair play to Tom Taylor. That's a really clean strike there as McAndrew went short, probably hoping it would just be paddled into the leg side for a single. But fair play. He swung the bat at it, got a really good connection. And I think it was Ben Kellaway who thought he might be in business again, was looking where his feet were before the ball landed. But in the end, I think he realised it just dropped in the end about 3 metres over the boundaries rope. And a welcome 6. So it looks like as we approach the final over, which will be bowled by Jimmy Neesham, Worcestershire are going to get a score north of 150.
148 for 8. Glamorgan, by the way, have avoided the cut-off. They've just snuck inside the cut-off, so they are doing this with the correct number of fielders out there on the boundary, and one of them there, Ace of Tribe, gets round from long on, so it's just a single. Yeah, 2 sixes. There's only been 4 sixes in the entire innings.
Yeah, it was a good strike. It was very cleanly hit, and wouldn't they like a couple more of those now off Jimmy Neesham? They've got to go to what's, again, a pretty long boundary, you think, on the leg side here, hitting towards the main stand, even though the rope is in a little bit. Slight
breeze going that way, but not too much. Goes wide Yorker, does Neesham. There's a fielder out there at deep point, Kellaway. It's just a single. Good start to the over from Neesham.
Well, Neesham's figures are fantastic so far. He's gone at 4 and over. Incredible figures for a seamer in the blast. 1 for 12 at the start of this over. Gone for a couple of singles, and so, he's bowled absolutely beautifully here. Just showed all his experience, variations, the ability to adjust when the batter's moving. Really has been a masterclass, and then throw in that catch as well. Well, that was the cherry on top of a very impressive performance from Jimmy Neesham, and 4 balls just to see if he can finish this Worcestershire side off.
Goes outside off stump. That's a good club into the leg side by Ben Allison. Make that 5 sixes over that one over deep square leg.
Well, fair play to Allison, fair play to these two. They are fighting hard to the end and trying to get them some runs. And you never know whether these boundaries will ultimately count for much in this match. If they can get up anywhere near towards 170, well, they'll see that as a real success given the problems they had just a few overs ago. Allison's now raced on to 18 from 12, and now Taylor on 18 from 12. Allison also with a 6, and hoping to just finish with a flourish.
156 for 8, 3 balls left. Nice that from Neesham. Split finger slower ball, I think, outside off stump. Allison dancing around here, there, and everywhere, and ended up just missing that attempted carve over the offside.
Well, yeah, probably you think their best chance for boundary is swing across the line towards the leg side and just hit and hope that way. Bowling it in the channel outside off, so much harder to get a powerful contact on it. And Nisham goes back to his mark now, just will decide before he bowls where he's going to deliver this one.
Holding it down the seam. Almost falls over in his follow-through. That is hit dead straight. But Mason Crane does well coming around from long off, keeps it to 2. 158 for 8, 1 ball left. There's not going to be 170, it's going to be something in the 160s at best for Worcestershire. Well, Jimmy Neesham's come back really well from being hit for 6.
Oh, I suppose 160 plus, that's psychological, every sort of 10 mark, 150, 160, 170, 180. I think if they can get to 160, well, maybe they'll feel they've got a chance. Glamorgan love chasing here though, so you'd think Glamorgan are definitely going to be the happiest here. But final ball
of the innings. Ben Allison facing Jimmy Neesham. It's a full toss. You couldn't really have asked for a better delivery if you're the batter, but he only manages to get 1. They decided not to try and run the second off the final ball. Oh, the plot thickens. There are some Worcestershire fans in because they've just cheered the no ball. It was a no ball on height, and we're going to have a free hit. So we're going to get another chance for Worcestershire to get their total up. Oh, that's a very tight no ball call on height. I'm not entirely sure.
Was it height or was it front foot?
It might actually have been front foot.
Yeah, I think it might.
It is front foot because Neesham's actually a good spot because he's actually looking at the front line.
So what's your bet here? Slow ball bouncer?
Wide Yorker. Wide Yorker's what I'm going. It is a wide Yorker and it's drilled down the ground. Are they going to come back for 2? They're going to try and come back for 2, and they're going to be run out, but I actually don't mind that off the last ball of a T20. I think that's actually, frankly, I think if it's not going to get hit for a boundary, you should be run out off the last ball of a T20. It's a good selfless stuff from Taylor and Allison. So they didn't take full advantage of the free hit, but they did manage to scrape a couple of it. So it's 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 off the last over for Worcestershire. And they finish on, they must have completed the single, so they must have finished on 161 for 8?
160, yeah, the scoreboard just updating. I think so. They took, I'm just going off that over, so there's 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, I think, off the over.
Sorry, yes, I know whether.
Yeah, that's it.
But yes, so they did complete. They got the one, got run out coming back for the second, which I absolutely do not mind. And good-spirited stuff from Worcestershire towards the end. But there is the slight feel that it was too little, too late, because they collapsed from 83 for 2 to find themselves 141 for 8. Finish with that little late flourish from Taylor and Allison on 161 for 9 in their 20 overs. Gareth Roderick, the undoubted standout, the only one of Worcestershire's batters to pass 20. He made 71, his joint highest T20 score of 43 balls, 8 fours and 2 sixes. Tom Taylor was run out off the last ball of that innings, run out by Mason Crane and Chris Cook. He made 19 off 13, and that 6 from Ben Allison took him to 11. Adam Hose also made 16, but not at any great pace.
Well, you'd have to say the standouts really were Roderick. Yeah, great knock, 71 from 43, and while he was there, Worcestershire, I think, had hopes of a total sort of north of 180, but when he went, well, it was sort of scratching around, and it was perhaps a really good effort between Taylor and Allison at the end, which has sort of got them up above 150 and given them a puncher's chance really against Glamorgan. But you'd have to say 162, Glamorgan probably would have taken that to be looking at chasing that. They've sort of comfortably made that sort of total so far this season. And I don't know if we can have a quick look at the bowling figures. Here we go. Well, Kellaway, great job, 3 for 24 from 3 overs, set the tone well from the start and came back well with some key wickets. And then Jimmy Neesham, the old stager, went for a few in his final over, which slightly spoilt his figures, but they're still pretty good, aren't they? 1 from 25 for 4. Great bowling from him, and of course that excellent catch as well. And Mason Crane also top figures again from him, 2 for 24, going at a runner ball from his 4 overs.
Yeah, really the only disappointment was McAndrew. Got the wicket at the end, and was obviously slightly unlucky that one of them had one tipped over the boundary, as it were, by Sean Dixon. He going for kind of jumps out there, 3 overs, 1 for 43, albeit bowling top and tail. That can happen to you sometimes in T20 cricket, but I think they dropped that one catch, and there were a couple of bits of dodgy ground fielding, but I think Glamorgan will be pretty happy all round with their bowling and fielding performance.
Yeah, I think that's right. So there's the match summary so far. Worcestershire Rapids 161 for 9 from 20 overs. Roderick 71 with a bit of help from Taylor, Hose and Allison, and Ben Kellaway leading the way with 3 for 24 with support from Crane, Van der Hoofden and Jimmy Neesham. So Glamorgan need 162 to win here at Sapphire Gardens. We're going to take a short break now, and we'll be back with you in a few minutes to see if Glamorgan can chase down 162 to win this very important Central and West group match in the Vitality Blast. We'll see you in a couple of minutes.
Welcome back to Sapphire Gardens, welcome back to the Glamorgan live stream for the second innings of Glamorgan versus Worcestershire here in the T20 Blast, the West Central Group. Worcestershire batted first, chose to bat first. They set 161 for 9 to 162 for Glamorgan to win and go above Worcestershire on points. Both these two level on points at the start of today, with Glamorgan having a game in hand, a win that could go a fairly long way to putting them in, if not securing, then certainly putting themselves in a good position to go through from this group. Reminding of how the Blast works this year, back to 3 groups. Top 2 in each group go through, plus the 2 best third place teams in the groups go through to the quarterfinals.
Well, I think Glamorgan will feel first part of the job done here. Have restricted Worcestershire to just 161, probably 25-30 runs short really of where it should have been. And now a chance for this Glamorgan opening pair, Kieran Carlson and Will Smelter, to get things off to a fly if they can.
That's Ashley Crowther, I'm Knuckle Pandey, and Tom Taylor starting to Kieran Carlson. He's bowling from the River Taff end and starts with a dot ball into the pads of the Glamorgan captain, Kieran Carlson.
Well, Kieran Carlson is a form player, has batted really nicely in this competition. Got a first baller against Middlesex the other week, but apart from that, he's been a consistent performer.
A fantastic 100 against Somerset here at the end of May. Got 45 off 20 here against Warwickshire on Friday. Taylor right arm over the wicket. Early sign of intent from the Glamorgan captain.
And I think that's how they'll start. It's definitely, particularly you think with net run rate being such a key factor, which could decide whether Glamorgan qualify for the quarterfinals or not, with things so tight in around that second place in this group. Net run rate could be really important. So with a relatively low score to chase, 162, it will be in Glamorgan's mind, can they get this done quickly? And if they can, really improve that net run rate.
Yeah, they're currently 0.5 behind Gloucestershire in second on net run rate. There's a chance they could go into second with a sufficiently big win. That's driven and somehow beats both cover and extra cover. Will Smale, he got his season up and running, as it were, with that half century, his first of the season against Warwickshire on Friday. Against the other W in the Midlands, gets himself off the mark with a beautiful boundary through cover.
Well, Will Smale's job is to put some energy into the early part of the innings, to go out and smack it if he can, hit the boundaries, get Glamorgan moving. Interestingly, some innings this year he's sort of almost played second fiddle to the captain, standing at the other end and watching him hit boundaries. But Smale needs to take that responsibility on himself.
Comes down the wicket there to try and get at Tom Taylor. Doesn't get much on it at all.
Born in Newport, Smale.
Newport one end, Cardiff the other.
Cardiff, yeah.
South Wales well represented at the crease.
Yeah, well, that's the one thing I think about this Glamorgan side that a lot of people like it. There are young Welsh lads coming through the pathway into the side, and I think that's one of the things that is sparking a revival of interest, just a sense that this team is going places, connection to all those local clubs.
Big swing, no ding from Will Smale coming down the ground and nearly swinging himself off his feet.
Well, that ball did a little bit off the pitch there, jagged in, I think, and so I think went between bat and pad it was. His head was rather in the air. You could tell where he finished up. He wasn't particularly balanced. Ended up sort of looking to the sky and spinning round. So we'll have to be a little bit careful here. But you can see the sign of intent from Will Smale with the lots of boundary options with only 2 fielders allowed outside of the 30-yard circle.
As if in response, deep mid-wicket's gone back. Deep point has come up.
So, yeah, the 2 deep fielders on the leg side now.
Final ball of the over from Taylor. No, it won't be, because he'll have to bowl that one again. Trying to bowl too much to his field. His heavily leg side set field, Tom Taylor.
Well, Smell played really well on Friday night. Got a lovely 60-odd, which really helped Glamorgan to a fairly comfortable victory, but really got them off to a good start. And, well, he'll look to do the same again. Not been too much to hit so far, apart from that nice cover drive.
That's a beauty from Taylor. Again, a little bit of movement off the seam. We saw Van der Guchten get a little bit of movement off the seam very early in the first innings. And I think Worcestershire will be all right with that. 6 off the first over.
Yeah, decent start. And just showing there is something in it for the bowlers here. Especially when the ball's nice and hard early on. And white ball tends to stop doing too much just after a few overs. And, unlucky there, Taylor. Got the ball jagging around a little bit, and Will Smell found it difficult to lay bat on ball at the latter half of that over.
Decent carry as well, went through to the keeper, Gareth Roderick, who, if you are just joining us, was the undoubted star of the Worcestershire batting innings. Got 71 of 49 balls. Really was, until a little bit of late order hitting from Waite and Allison, the only thing to write home about. It is going to be Worcestershire's overseas, Bayers Swanepoel, who's going to share the new ball coming in from the Cathedral Road end. And starting with a poor ball, 2 full, down the leg side. Easy pickings for Kieran Carlson, his first boundary.
Well, classic Carlson, straight onto the leg stump, and he doesn't need a second invitation there. Flicked nicely with real pace. That wasn't actually very far away from the fielder down there on the deep square leg boundary, but he hit it so well that he had no chance. And a boundary for Kieran Carlson. Up and running.
Swanepoel into the side for Secunda Raza, who was Worcestershire's blast only overseas player, but he has been called back to Zimbabwe because they've got a series coming up.
Well, there we go. Well, that sounded amazing off the bat.
Didn't it? Just fabulous shot from Carlson. A little bit too short, a little bit too much width, and that sort of short arm pull that Kieran Carlson plays so well, where it's just all bat speed through the path of the ball, and away it went for 4.
Yeah, he's got a couple of sort of signature shots. There's the one where he kind of gets down on his knee a little bit and hits it a bit squarer than that, which has become a real trademark. But that one, again, just a really clean hit. It made an amazing noise. The sort of clack of the leather hitting the willow just reverberated round the ground. Then it flew to the boundary in a split second. Back-to-back boundaries from the Glamorgan skipper.
Deep square leg and deep mid-wicket. Back-to-back-to-back boundaries. The value of a good outside edge, especially when there isn't a fielder on the deep. Pressure on Bayers Swanepoel at the start of his first over in T20 cricket as a Worcestershire player.
Well, a bit risky, a little bit in the air, but he got it right through the gap there, and it's another boundary. And, this is the sort of start that Glamorgan hope to get. Can they get so far ahead of the rate that really, in some sense, they feel the game is almost won, that they've done the hard work, and then it means that the batters coming after them don't have to take as many risks.
4 dot as Kieran Carlson goes down on one knee and tries to swing that one out of South Wales.
Well, that was the signature shot. Yeah, if he connected with that would have landed somewhere in the city centre, I think. And it's a shot he really likes to play. It looks unbelievable when it comes off. Very stylish. And, he's clearly set out his intentions. There are a couple of fielders back out on the boundary, one just behind square and one at mid-wicket. He'll have to try and clear them if he's going to go for a maximum.
Pushes this one to extra cover. There's no run there. I think that is the way to go. You can get yourself into trouble chasing middling totals if you don't get that early energy into your innings and you don't get ahead of the rate. That's really... theoretically they could end up collapsing in heat, but realistically the only way of Worcestershire winning this game is to strangle Glamorgan and cause some panic. And if you can get yourself ahead of the rate, you give yourself an insurance policy against that. That is pulled, but it's comfortably fielded out there on the deep mid-wicket boundary, and they come through for a single. 13 off the over. And Glamorgan 19 for none after 2.
Yeah, really good over from a Glamorgan perspective. We've seen there the power of the captain, Kieran Carlson. Such a clean striker of the ball. And those 2 leg side shots in particular, just showed that he's confident, feels like he's in good nick, and is determined really to spearhead the chase here, take responsibility for it as the captain, and try and get his side off to a flyer. And with that single off the last ball as well, he's pinched the strike. So he'll now be facing Taylor, who, to be fair to him, looked pretty dangerous first up.
It was a pretty good first over, wasn't it, from Tom Taylor? 2 fielders back on the leg side. That has gone a long way up. Where is that going to settle? It is going to settle in the gloves of Gareth Roderick. The the South African-born Worcestershire keeper, who draws some cheers from the small pocket of Worcestershire fans down here at our end at the Cathedral Road end. And Kieran Carlson is gone for 14 off 9. That went a very, very long way up, but it did not go very far.
Well, the intent was there, but the execution not so good this time. I think Taylor, a tricky opponent, is bowling at a good pace. That was that back of a length. It wasn't really there to hit, and as a result, all Carlson could do is smack it straight up in the air, and the question was who was going to catch it. Interesting, the bowler and others almost ran away from the ball. Clearly got an early shout from Roderick, the keeper, who was in the best place to wearing the gloves to make the catch, and in the end they all got out of his way. There you can see backing away was Taylor, and in the end only caught a few inches above the ground, but successfully negotiated, and that brings Ben Kellaway to the crease. And you'd have to say, of all the Glamorgan batters this season, Kellaway's probably the one who hasn't fired in the blast yet. Average, I think, we're only about 12 this season. Such a talented player, rated very, very highly. Last year's player of the season here at Glamorgan, and of course very handy performer with the ball as well. But he's been promoted up to number 3 in this competition. Good white ball player in the Welsh Fire squad. Played for Welsh Fire last season as well, made his breakthrough season there. So can he get his first decent score?
Defends his first ball into the covers. Yeah, a couple of 30s, 32 off 24 against both Lancashire in that incredible game at Blackpool and in the slightly more prosaic win against Middlesex at Cardiff. But yeah, averaging just under 13 and only striking at 7 and over as well, which for a player of his talent is not necessarily doing him justice. Slight change to the field with the new man in. There's deep cover and a deep sort of squarish mid-wicket. Taylor maybe going to go a little bit shorter of a length. Driven off the inside part of the bat, and Kellaway's away with 1.
Well, interesting question for Kellaway, really, about how he plays this. I can't see Will Smale changing his approach. I think he will keep going hard. He'll keep being aggressive. Kellaway may just be a little bit more selective about what he goes after, but we'll have to see. But of course, the depth of this Glamorgan batting lineup is one of the real strengths of this team. They bat pretty much all the way down to number 11. Everyone's decent with a bat in hand, so there's loads of batting to come.
Good over this from Taylor. That is a beautiful shot from Smale. I think it was a slower ball, but he picked it so early and picked the gap between the bowler and the stumps, and absolutely no chance for mid-on getting around to stop that. Beautiful shot from Smale. Yeah, controlled shot there. Nothing wild about that one. That was just a really good cricket shot that would be applauded in every format there. Didn't try and hit it too hard, just leant on it, and it was the placement that was absolutely perfect. So, well, Will Smale, couple of boundaries now, 8 from 5. Gone back to 2 on the leg side. And again, good placement from Smale, just nudging this round the corner to pick himself up 1.
So yeah, Asa Tribe Light to come in at 4. Sean Dixon, probably the form player in this Glamorgan side, in at 5, and then Chris Cook, the keeper, in at 6. Beyond that, I think there's all sorts of variations of who could come in. Of course, Jimmy Neesham maybe like to come in at 7. You've got Nathan McAndrew as well. Dan Douthwaite probably will come in at 7 or 8. Very strong hitter of the ball as well. So lots of options here, but this top order need to try and get some momentum early.
Another single into the onside to finish the over. 7 off it. Good one from Tom Taylor, and the wicket of the Glamorgan captain Kieran Carlson. Glamorgan after 3, chasing 162, 26 for 1.
Well, Worcestershire have just got to put some doubt into the mind of Glamorgan here. They've just got to not let it have them all their own way. Sure, Glamorgan feel confident they can do it, but how can they just put the doubts into the mind of these batters? How can they just get this crowd here at Sophia Gardens feeling nervous and take a little bit of the party atmosphere out of this place at the moment? Because you think another wicket, if they lose 2 or 3 wickets in the power play, well, all of a sudden, that will be asking a few questions. Will maybe mean that Glamorgan's plan, the plan they like to follow to chase, will have to be modified. And so I think that's probably the job here. Can Ben Allison now also get into the game?
Another right arm over the wicket bowler. And that is a beautiful pick-up from Callaway. And with that leg side boundary in out there, I think that's gone for 6. Is just a few yards over the rope. Beautiful, just flick off the toes from Callaway. Wasn't that bad a ball from Allison first up, but superb timing from Callaway.
Well, my heart was in my mouth a little bit then, because there is a fielder lurking down there at deep square leg, and immediately I thought he may have just hit it straight down his throat. As it was, he got a beautiful connection, hit it just well about sort of 5 to 10 metres to his left, and a classy shot from Callaway.
That one's come in off the seam a little bit from Ben Allison. Ball's very close to the stumps. They come through for a leg by, I think. Yeah, Bear Swanepoel went for 13 from his first over from the Cathedral Road end. Oh, no, there's inside edge on that. So runs to Callaway. He and Will Smale both on 9. Here we go. Yeah, big, thick inside edge straight into the knee. Ow.
So Will Smale on strike. You think he's the one who's going to have to keep carrying it to the bowlers?
Deep in his crease and trying to set himself to go down the ground, and they come through for an easy single. Sunlight glinting off the sunglasses on the back of umpire Nigel Long's head. He's the standing umpire at this end, and Worcestershire cult hero Jack Shantry, currently a square leg umpire, with the hardest bowling action to describe I think I've ever seen. Jack Shantry. Go look him up.
Adam Shantry, his brother Bolt, played here at Glamorgan, I think, so there is a connection, family connection to this club.
Gorgeous shot, classy. Eased away, Ben Callaway, backed away, the inside out, extra cover drive, into the Glamorgan dugout for 4.
Yeah, classy shot, again, it was in the air, but deliberately so, felt confident, stepped away, gave himself a little bit of room, and sort of held the pose, nicely balanced, and he is a very classy player on his day, Ben Callaway. Seems to time the ball effortlessly, and that was a nice example there.
Putting that white-handled kookaburra to good use. Flick over the leg side, a drive over the offside. One that bounces on him a little bit.
Ooh,
and a tight single. Smale had to get the hurry up, get his hurry on. Better throw, might have had him.
Well, they're having a chat now, the bat. They're probably going to come down and have a little chat in the middle, because they were both signalling to each other at the end of that something didn't quite go right. I think there was definitely a hesitation in the middle, which meant it was much tighter than it needed to be. And so I think Callaway and Smale just trying to get clear on how they're going to call, what their plan is. I think if one calls, you've just both got to go.
Last ball of the over from Allison.
And
that time they do just go. And actually, that was probably closer to a run out than the previous ball, because they went straight away. There was absolutely no danger. So a couple of boundaries in that over, but a couple of mini alarms in the running. Better throw might have had him.
Yeah, well, that's what Glamorgan want to avoid. We were talking about Worcestershire needing to find something just to sort of dent the confidence, dent this sense that Glamorgan, have got a plan and they just need to follow it to win this game. And the sort of thing that can really upset you and send sort of shivers going through the dressing room is a run out like that. Just that would create a bit of uncertainty for those coming. So good that they're trying to work that out, these two.
40 for 1 off 4. Swanepoel has switched to the River Taff end. Will he have any better luck from that end? Not immediately, because that is clipped away beautifully by Will Smale for 4.
Yeah, lovely shot. Picked up again off sort of middle and leg stump and clipped that very, very hard. I think it was in the air fractionally, but I think 1 or 2 bounces and over the ropes. So, yeah, it just shows that anything slightly offline here, anything that strays onto that leg stump, well, Will Smale will be happy to try and put that away. Even with 2 fielders out there, he's hitting the ball so hard that they didn't have a chance of getting there.
Swanepoel's got to find his line and length there. He hasn't yet. Found the length, not the line, down the leg side for a wide.
Well, that first ball, boundary off the first ball of an over, always puts a little bit of pressure back on the bowler. And, yeah, just getting the line wrong there. just maybe did a bit off the pitch as well and made it look worse than it was.
That one didn't need any help looking worse than it was, I'm afraid, because that one was even further down the leg side. I can see why he's trying to bowl straight into the leg side, because he's got the two fielders out on the leg side, but he's just overcooked it a little bit.
Yeah, he has. So, well, these are extra runs that Worcestershire don't really need to give away here. Of course, not only the 2 runs, but extra balls as well.
Is that going to be caught at short
catch.
third?
I think he's
Worcestershire
got
are
it.
claiming that at short third, and I think that is an excellent catch from the fielder at short third. Osama Mir, the Pakistan spinner, or the Pakistan spinner for now, because he's trying to qualify as a homegrown player. That is an excellent bit of work, diving forward at short third.
Well, Callaway doesn't look very happy coming off here. I'm not sure he's 100% convinced. Don't know if he's unhappy with himself, or is he unhappy that he's not sure that the catch was taken. Mir just sort of flopped forward in the end, didn't have to do too much apart from sort of lean forward. And I think, to me here, it looked like he probably got his hands under the ball. A really great catch. We'll have a look on the replay.
Yeah, Smale walking off and was practicing the shot. Can't quite see from that angle. Osama Mir was absolutely convinced that he'd caught that. And yes, that's gone straight in. That's gone straight in.
Very good catch.
Hands under the ball, good catch at short third, good low catch, and a promising innings from Will Smale is cut off in its prime. He's gone for 15 off 10, caught by Osama Mir. First wicket for Worcestershire in T20 cricket for Bears Swanepoel, and brings Asa Tribe to the middle.
Well, Glamorgan going nicely as far as the rate is concerned, but a little alarm bell maybe just about losing 2 wickets. No need to panic just yet, though, as another top performer, Asa Tribe, comes out to the middle. He's played really well this season, averaging 66 across his 3 innings, the top score of 48. Has been effective in every game he's played so far. I guess it's always got a score of 40 plus.
Be a big wicket for Worcestershire if they can get him, and have they got him first ball? They have got him first ball. Wow. It's an absolute beauty from Swanepoel, angling in, nipping away, hard length, and Asa Tribe has gone first ball. Bears Swanepoel has 2 in 2, and now the cat is amongst the pigeons.
Well, big moment. Asa Tribe, one of the star batters in this side, is on his way. First ball, having edge one behind, and all of a sudden, I think Worcestershire will believe. They've got their 3 wickets in the power play. They've got rid of 3 of the most destructive batters at the top of this Glamorgan innings, and Glamorgan are not having things their own way. This is a moment of potential peril for Glamorgan, and that means that Sean Dixon is coming out a lot earlier than they'd hope in the 5th over. This is much earlier than they'd want to be seeing him out in the middle. And rather than coming out in a finisher role, he's got a bit of building to do before then.
Bit of Gauteng on Gauteng action. Bears Swanepoel from Vanderbijl Park on a hat-trick, bowling to Sean Dixon, born in Johannesburg. And from nowhere, Glamorgan find themselves in a bit of a scrap. He'd struggled really up until this point, Bears Swanepoel, but he got his lines and lengths more like where he wanted them, and that second ball was an absolute beauty. There is a slip in place for the hat-trick ball from Bears Swanepoel on his Worcestershire T20 debut. Hat-trick ball survived by Dixon. He pushes a single, 2 points. The oohs and ahs from the little pocket of Worcestershire fans down below us. But that little spell has changed the complexion of this game, and suddenly it's gone very quiet round Sophia Gardens.
Well, the question is now, how do they approach it? You'd think that Callaway and Dixon probably just need to manage the risk a little bit for a few overs. I think if they lost another 1 or 2 now, well, they really would be worried.
A little bit more bustle in his stride from Swanepoel as Callaway edges this. The ball is going to beat the fielder coming back from the edge of the ring, and a little thick outside edge nerve settler wouldn't go amiss, I think.
No, well, that really helps. Yeah, a bonus boundary really there, just to make them feel a little bit better at the end of what's been a quite traumatic over from a Glamorgan perspective, with a couple of wickets tumbling. So Callaway, well, Player of the Year last year. Still pretty young, but you feel like he's got to take some responsibility here. And so far, so good.
This over's had all sorts. How's it going to end? It's going to end with a fairly undramatic single into the onside. 4, wide, wicket, 1, 4, 1. All sorts happening. We love the T20 blast. And after 5 overs chasing 161, Glamorgan are 52 for 3.
Well, ticking along nicely as far as the scoreboard's concerned, but 3 wickets down. Well, that is a concern and a worry. Glamorgan, I think, have been used to maybe only losing 1 or 2 in the power play and having a batter well set at this stage. Kellaway, well, he's faced 9 balls going along really nicely for 19, but Sean Dixon, star batter, is out there now, and my sense is that it may just be a little while before he decides to sort of move up the gears and using that boundary power that he has. So maybe a little bit of consolidating to be done here. As Taylor resumes here from the Cathedral Road end to Kellaway. A little bit more buzz around the field as far as Worcestershire are concerned. Bit of energy those wickets have brought.
They're making a real point there if the ball makes its way back to Taylor of getting every fielder in the offside to get their hands on the ball, and they were throwing around rugby passes of the type better seen up the road at the Principality.
So we've got a proper contest here, a proper game on. Could go either way, really in the balance. Kellaway uppish. Not a convincing shot. Again, didn't seem to strike through with any great conviction there, and the ball was in the air for a little while, but thankfully fell short from a Glamorgan perspective. With a Swanepoel, I think it is.
That change of ends to bring Swanepoel on from the River Taff end certainly worked. Will the sort of resultant switch of Taylor to this end bear equal fruit? Pears, presumably.
Look, Kellaway works into the leg side, and that's just going to be 1. So, really interesting to see how Sean Dixon plays this now. He has got such power, clean hitting power, and has been kind of devastating really in the last sort of 5, 6, 7 overs of chases. Again, won the game with some magnificent hitting here on Friday night for Glamorgan, but a slightly different job for him to do here. Oh, goodness me. Well, that ball he's played it down, but has played it so late that it's actually gone under his bat and gone straight to the keeper. So, little sense of nervousness here. That ball did jag back off the pitch.
He almost ended up defending that onto his own stumps. Almost not enough weight in the bat to stop that one getting through. I think it's very important that Glamorgan don't overthink this and don't go into their shell.
Yeah, I think that's the dilemma. It's a natural instinct almost when wickets have been tumbling. Just to maybe be a bit more cautious, but I think they've got to keep playing with intent. And I think that's the danger, that as soon as you stop trying to be positive, whether that's positive running, even a positive defensive shot, whether you just dangle the bat out there in hope rather than trying to do something positive, well, that can be counterproductive. And so they'll just hope that a couple of overs go by here now. It's a crucial game, this, of course. They'll know the importance. If they can win this game, they'll feel really confident of pushing towards the quarterfinals. If they lose it, well, Worcestershire will feel the same, and Glamorgan will have quite a lot of work to do. Nice looking shot. Don't think it's going to find the boundary, but a comfortable 2 as it's knocked into one of those deep corners. So pretty tidy over there from Taylor. Again, just 4 from it, and I think those wickets definitely have just made Glamorgan go into their shell a little bit here. Maybe just having a breather, just trying to reassess, just let the heart rate settle a bit before they decide to go again. And that's the end of the power play. 56 for 3. Worcestershire were 52 for 2 at the Staines stage, so you'd have to say probably pretty even.
I mean, after 4.5 overs, Worcestershire were Glamorgan were 46 for 1.
Yeah.
So the impact of those 2 and 2, pretty clear for all to see.
So it's Matthew Waite, who's come on now to bowl from the River Taff end. His first ball in this match.
Tom Waits has done a lot in his career. I don't know if he's ever played cricket.
No, this is true. At this point, if I was, I should be able to name a song and come back with a witty retort here, but alas, I don't think I've got it in my locker.
Yeah, Glamorgan not quite way down in the hole, but they may need to make sure that they don't end up so.
That's why you'll pay the big money, mate, to come up with lines like that. So, Callaway is actually on 22 from 13, so his strike rate's excellent. Again, just content to go for another single. Very quick between the wickets, Callaway, so they'll possibly look for a moment for an overthrow, but the fielders, Worcestershire fielders, managed to organise themselves quickly enough to cut off any thought of a second run. Yeah, so the run rate now just above 9. They require 7.6, so that won't worry them. I think the 7.6, that's almost the easy bit. It's the wicket column is the thing that's a problem. It might just be a case of picking up lots of singles and hitting any really loose deliveries to the boundary here.
As Ben Callaway nearly gets cleaned up at the striker's end by a very errant throw from long on. He'd run well to the leg side of the stumps and suddenly found that the ball was honing in on the back of his neck.
Powerfully struck, but I think it's only going to be one again. Matthew Waite's got a sort of interesting way to get into his bowling action. Takes almost like a wide step just to try and get into the rhythm.
Reminds me a little bit of Mark Woods before he lengthened his action.
Yeah,
He's got a real sort of push off.
Yeah, Mark Wood reminds me of like a jet taking off at from an airport where he almost taxis around the corner and then doesn't stop moving and then gets into his stride. Fuller delivery. Dixon again can only push out to the leg, so they think about it. Callaway is quick and he's coming back. Well, that's brilliant running. He made that comfortably, Callaway. He's so fast that in the end for him was a comfortable 2.
It's excellent T20 batting there. Just weight of shot just barely got out the circle, and if you set off straight away, particularly with the pockets in the corners as they are at Sophia Gardens, it's always going to be 2.
Well, there are different ways to show positive intent, by hitting the ball and also by running well, and they did that well there. Driven, well, that was the ball in the slot for Dixon, and he didn't miss out. Full ball, half volley, and he just got it past that short cover to slightly ruin that over there from Matthew Waite. 10 from it, and Glamorgan feel, I think, if things are calming down a little bit, this pair now feeling a bit more established.
That was a nicely constructed over. You normally talk about that from a bowler's perspective, but from the batters, they made sure that the good balls, they weren't going to get getting dotted up, they weren't having any undue pressure put on them. That little bit of extra impetus in the running, and then I think it's probably going a bit far to say that they forced the bad ball, but when they got it, they took absolute full advantage of it.
So, the introduction of spin now. Osama Mir, Pakistan international, leg spinner. Played 5 international T20s. Driven straight away in the air, but safe.
He's the leading wicket taker in the Blast this year. For Worcestershire, 14 wickets prior to today, and I think we alluded to this earlier, he pretty soon will be a homegrown player because he's in the process of qualifying as a home player in English cricket.
So again, it's right on the money here, just putting that ball on a good length on off stump.
So he last played for Pakistan in 2024, and in 2025 essentially gave up all of his Pakistan contract and any ambition to play for them, and is going to go through he's partway through the 3-year residency process.
Little inside edge there, Dixon, I think. Well, Glamorgan struggled a little bit against the mystery spin of Usman Tariq on Friday night for Warwickshire, because a very different sort of bowler, much more unconventional. and he just sent a few shivers down the batting order on Friday. What can the spinner here do? Been pretty tidy stuff so far. And if he can bowl some very tight overs here, well, that will just build up a little bit of pressure. So Sean Dixon going a runner ball at the moment, but there's 3 successive dots, which is quite a lot in the T20 format. So will he lure Dixon into a rash shot? Tries just for a single.
I mean, it's not that long ago. Salman Mir was in Pakistan's team at the 2023 ODI World Cup, but not too long after found himself out of favour. He was meant to join Worcestershire the year before he actually did, but got denied a no objection certificate, which I think sparked his decision to
Kellaway has picked that up. That's a beautiful shot. That's gone all the way. Well, more effortless power from Ben Kellaway. Didn't hit it too hard, just timed it beautifully, picked his spot. And again, the last ball of what was, up until that point, an extremely tidy over from Mir. Well, it's gone for 6. Glamorgan take 8 from the over, and they continue the real rebuilding process in some style.
Bowlers talk about getting in and out of an over, and on 2 occasions now, Glamorgan haven't let Worcestershire get out of the over.
Yeah, a good shot. And it's Matthew Waite again. Bit of width. Dixon will be disappointed he couldn't thread that through the gap. So yeah, Mir looks like he could be a handful. Had good control in that over. I think it was a good shot from Kellaway. There's nothing too wrong with the ball. Again, probably might have been hitting it against the spin as well for that 6. So Waite again. Little sideways step. And Dixon comes down. I think maybe Waite saw him coming and dragged the length back a little bit, so he could only get one more.
Been at Worcestershire for a little while now. Matthew Waite came up through the system at Yorkshire, was at Yorkshire for 8 years or so, born in Leeds. Matthew Waite is a very Yorkshire name.
I'm sure you're a Yorkshire lad, aren't you?
I am. Born and brought up in the East Riding.
Pulls. What's the placement like? Can't quite beat the fielder. It's just going to be 1. Yeah, I think Kellaway rehearses the shot. Just needed to get that a little bit more in front of square to get the boundary option. Played it with nice control, got over the ball, so there was no question of him being out at all. So run rate just under 9 here for Glamorgan. It's more than they need. Content just to take a single when the boundary option is not on offer. Working it around, and again hoping that the boundary opportunity will come. 2 balls left this over, just 3 singles from it so far. And Glamorgan not having it all their own way here.
Waite dropped short fine leg back to fine leg, then brought him up again at the last second.
So comfortable single. Another easy shot. I think, Waite will be fine with that. Maybe bowling the sort of delivery that just induces that sort of shot. Again, tempting Kellaway or Dixon to say, well, can you hit this over those fielders on the boundary? Sean Dixon definitely has got the power to do it, but will he want to try it at this stage? Full toss. Again, hasn't really timed it, but gets the boundary, makes a bit of a mess of it on the boundary, does the fielder. And again, well, you talked about it, Nakul, in the end of the previous over. Worcestershire not exiting overs well, and they've done it again. Conceded a boundary off the last ball.
3 overs running. In some ways, the bowler would think, Kashif Ali, you should have stopped that down at long off, but if you are going to bowl a full toss, then you are somewhat asking for trouble. Kashif did quite well initially coming round to his left, but then got himself into a bit of a tangle, ended up sort of spooning it back onto himself, but 3 overs in a row, boundaries off the last ball.
Well, it's turning into a useful partnership, this one now. They came together when the score was on 46. So it's now worth 37, this partnership. There haven't been too many scares or troubles since Sean Dixon joined Ben Callaway in the middle.
A little bit of dodgy running right at the start, but apart from that.
Big appeal, and he's gone. Well, Osama Mir strikes. Sean Dixon went to play the sweep. It's the first time he's really attempted that shot. He missed, and he is gone. Well, what a moment that could be. Glamorgan reduced to 83 for 4, and it's the Pakistani leg spinner Osama Mir who strikes and really swings Worcestershire right back into contention here.
Absolutely no hesitation from Nigel Long. Snuck under the bat, no turn whatsoever. And Ben Callaway knew immediately at the non-strikers end. Sean Dixon knew immediately. Swept straight over the top of the ball. Maybe just a little bit of dip from Osama Mir to get it under the bat. Practices the shot he should have played, getting more down to the pitch of the ball, to the height of the ball. And Sean Dixon is gone for 17 off 16. Glamorgan 83 for 4. Nicely bowled by Osama Mir.
Well, Chris Cook now, the new batter. Terrific player. You'd probably say one of Glamorgan's best all-time white ball players. So happy to give him that sort of billing. Of course, is a phenomenal striker of the ball when he gets going, but hasn't actually bat too many times in this competition. The game has been done on a few occasions before he gets there, but now got a job to do. Very experienced. Not far away from his 40th birthday as well, Chris Cook.
Yeah, very passed it. He turned 40 at the end of May.
Well, he still looks like he's about 23. A young looking figure. And a very clean strike of the ball when he gets in. So Callaway and Cook. Probably maybe Dan Douthwaite like to be next, or Jimmy Neesham. So lots of batting to come, but Glamorgan would love this pair to hang around a bit. And Callaway feels like the key man. Can he just be the man who stays there all the way? Gets back nicely. Turns that on the leg side from straight delivery. Use the full depth of his crease there just to see what the ball would do off the pitch. So good contest this. Glamorgan definitely have been rattled by this tumble of wickets. Just content to take the singles again here. Well, really good over from Mir. That's just 4 singles from it, and the all-important wicket of Sean Dixon as well. So at the halfway stage of this chase, Glamorgan are 86 for 4. Still needing another 76 runs to win. And there's the worm we can see, and you can see pretty on as even.
Yeah, Worcestershire lost their 4th wicket in right at the start of the 12th over, 93 for 4 after 11.1. So it is pretty even, but it was at this point that Worcestershire were in the middle of that collapse from 83 for 2 to 121 for 7. 2 games running now, Glamorgan put under pressure by the opposition star spinner. It's going to be spin to continue. Fateh Singh, who's in for the injured Brett D'Oliveira. He's going to start a left-arm spinner. Came up through the system at Nottinghamshire now at Worcestershire. He's going to bowl from the River Taff end. Forced off the back foot. It's going to be a chase from the man at deep point. He's not going to win the race. Beautiful placement from Chris Cook. Boundary to start the over.
Great start from Cook. Again, didn't try to hit the ball too hard, but at the end it was the placement that was spot on. Just a tiny bit short, not much. And timed it so well. and had enough on it to beat the boundary fielder running round.
Only played the once in the blast this year. Fateh Singh, couple of overs.
Ooh.
Oohs and ahs as that one beat the attempted paddle sweep. Not taken quite cleanly by Gareth Roderick. In very quickly to bowl the third. Parried at cover, they come through for a single.
We're bowling with his glasses on here. Kind of, it's okay. Kind of sort of got the, I don't know, it's like Kojak vibes there with the glasses as well, and quite a stylish look. Keeping them on, I'd be afraid of knocking them off, I think, if I was a bowler. But
couple of wristbands and a smartwatch on the right wrist.
Oh yeah, there's plenty on there, isn't there?
And another wristband on the left wrist.
Gets down well.
Nice bit of loop on that from Fateh Singh, getting that up and down nicely. 22 years old. Took 11 wickets for Worcestershire in the blast last season. That is pulled away with extreme prejudice by Ben Kellaway. He's been a little bit quiet for the last couple of overs as the wickets have fallen at the other end, but punishing Fateh Singh for a stray in line. Yeah, way too far down the leg side, and it was the work of but a moment for Ben Kellaway to swivel and put it away.
Well, it feels like a good battle, this. It's got counter punches from both teams.
Another one angled down the leg side. This time the other side of short fine leg. Fateh Singh ruins what had been a pretty good over up to that point, straying down the leg side, being hit for back-to-back boundaries, 3 in total off the over. Seeing this again. All it needed was a little tickle, and Taylor at short fine leg had no chance. 13 off Fateh Singh's first over, 99 for 4 Glamorgan.
Well, a few questions for Adam Hose here, the Worcestershire captain. He'd been hoping that Fateh Singh could have kept things tight, really. Could he bowl in tandem with Osama Mir and just really keep things, really suppress the Glamorgan run rate through these middle overs? He's gone for 13 there and seemed to bowl a number of balls that Glamorgan could put away. So, questions for him. Does he keep going with him or try something else?
Certainly going to keep going with Osama Mir from this, the Cathedral Road end. Cook nudges a single.
That's the 100 out
to
for
point.
Glamorgan.
Polite claps around the ground as the Glamorgan total ticks over to 3 figures. 100 for 4 in the 12th. He's 62 off 53 deliveries. Little pause at the top of his run, Osama Mir. Kellaway tried to wait and wait and wait for that, but he ended up just flat batting it back to the bowler. Slight shades of Mushtaq Ahmed in his approach and run up with Osama Mir. High arms.
Oh, no.
Short again, chance of a run out and he's gone. Direct hit from cover, only had a stump to aim at, but that single was just not on from Kellaway, and he's run himself out. That is precisely what Glamorgan did not need. The end of what the beginnings of a promising partnership, and Ben Kellaway has barbecued himself for 43. Glamorgan, just as they were starting to get a handle on things after those 2 wickets in 2 balls, lose another. They are 100 for 5.
Big moment in the game. Kellaway was the man who was tying all of this Glamorgan innings together, the man who was going to try and stay there and see them through to the end. Well, and what makes the impact of this is the emotional impact of knowing that it was a self-inflicted wound for Glamorgan. They didn't have to do that. The single was never really on. It bounced beautifully into the hands of the fielder, who, as you can see, had plenty of time to hit the stumps, and he didn't miss. It was a brilliant throw.
Jake Libby, the sub-fielder. Not sure who he's on for, but doing the business as the sub-fielder. Jimmy Neesham has come in, but with the attempted run, Chris Cook is going to be on strike. Utterly needless from Ben Kellaway. A real boost for Worcestershire, who are more in this game than I think either Ashley or I thought they might be at halfway.
Well, Mir has just been creating pressure, and that was probably why they took that run, because they're not finding him easy to get away. So
they'll push for 2, will they?
Gosh.
God, the running has gone completely to pot all of a sudden. Neesham had plenty of time to get back after being sent back by Cook. He wanted the run, Cook didn't.
Well, pretty much the crowd were pretty much shouting, "Stay there, Jimmy," at that point, and thankfully he went back. One run out will be unfortunate, but 2, well, I'm not sure the crowd would forgive the Glamorgan side of giving away needless wickets at this stage of the match. Again, runs, well, the rate will be reasonably comfortable, but it's that wickets column. 5 down now.
Last ball of the over from Osama Mir. Neesham possibly could have left that for a wide, but decides to take the single. Another excellent over from Osama Mir. 3 wickets, and to be honest, the unforced error of the run out, because yes, he was putting some pressure on, but they'd got those 13 off the previous over from Fateh Singh, and there just was never a single there. It hit it straight to Jake Libby off the back foot. He's already losing a yard, and now they've just got to put that behind them, Neesham and Cook, and get on with it.
Well, 2 very experienced players. That's all you can say. That is one of the strengths of this Glamorgan team, is that even when you get down to number 7, you get someone of the international experience and quality of Jimmy Neesham coming in. And there's a bit more batting to come as well. So, need all of his experience here. He'll have been in this situation lots of times, you'd think. And Chris Cook, a very experienced campaigner as well. So it's Ben Allison, who was expensive in his first over, went for 14.
Over the wicket to the left-handed Jimmy Neesham. No chance of a single there. Good work at cover. Yeah, Ben Allison bowled the 1 over in the power play. He's also changed ends. He was coming in from this end initially, but now he's up at the top, the Rifford Taff end.
Well, you think from a Glamorgan perspective, all thoughts of getting a big net run rate win are probably gone. They just need to win. I'm sure it's simplified things now. They just need to win this game because they're in a bit of a tough spot here.
102 for 5. Swing and a miss from Neesham. Loves that pick up over the leg side, and there's no one at deep mid wicket. They've left it open for him to hit that, but he is over the top of it.
It's a really interesting field. You don't see this many times at this stage, particularly here at Sapphire Gardens. Well, they're now pushing another man. They only had 1 fielder back on the leg side. Now they're pushing another back and bringing short third up. Normally you'd have at least 2 on the leg side, and they've now just done that, made that change.
2 dot balls to start. Slower ball, which Neesham doesn't really get hold of.
No, Chris Cook, it was his call in the end as the ball went behind square and was quickly down there. Again, just a slight stutter from Jimmy Neesham, who signals to his partner. Disappointed he hasn't made a better connection with that.
Hasn't done too much with the bat since joining Glamorgan, Jimmy Neesham.
He did hit the winning runs against Somerset, which was a special moment. Hit a last ball 4 to win that game. One of the home and away victories against Somerset. Of course, the champions, the defending champions of this tournament. So that was probably his biggest moment to date.
Yeah, but, that came at the end of 14 not out of 10. He's only passed double figures 1 of a time. Okay, admittedly, he's normally batting 6, 7 and 8, but even so.
Well, a chance to really do something good for his side here.
Pulled behind square. It's going to beat the man at deep square leg. Desperate dive, can't pick up. I think that might have been Kashif Ali again down there. The ball's rolled down the tunnel, through the fence and down the tunnel, and a smiling child has thrown the ball back.
Well, again, well timed. Neesham, that's the ball he'd been looking for a little bit earlier. Just evaded. It was a good effort. So I think these fielders on the back, can they stop some of these going for 4? Could be really a key factor in deciding whether Glamorgan can get there.
Final ball of the over. It's a good Yorker in at the toes, and Neesham has managed to squeeze out a single. 7 off the over. Glamorgan 109 for 5. Need 53 off the remaining 7 overs.
Well, 53 from 42. Don't think that's the issue here. I'm pretty confident if these two can keep batting and they don't lose any more wickets, they'll get there.
How do you play this one? If Simon Mir is going to bowl his last over, is there a thought of playing him out?
I mean, potentially, yes. I think he's been certainly the tightest bowler. He's caused the most problems. He has built up pressure. And, I think Glamorgan can probably afford to just take 4 or 5 off this over and still feel that they've got enough in the tank to get the runs they need to later on. I think, but if they lost a wicket to him, I think that would feel much worse. So my sense is take anything that's on offer, but try not to lose a wicket. I'm going to think about 2.
Just
here.
a 1 to start. Mid-wickets in quickly to cut off any thoughts of a second. Left-right hander now for Osama Mir to deal with. Jimmy Neesham, the left-hander. It's pretty much the same field, but flipped mirror-wise. So you've got a deep point, deep long off, long on, deep mid-wicket and deep square. Skewed off the outer part of the bat. Misfielded at point allows them to come through for the single, which they were going for anyway.
Well, I think from a Glamorgan perspective, if they got 6 singles there, they'd be more than happy with that. That would just keep the runs ticking over enough.
The one boundary of Osama Mir was that pick-up sweep.
Oh,
Neesham's gone for it. He doesn't think he's got enough of it. It's gone very high. It's been caught. It's been caught coming in off the fence. It's a good catch running in. Neesham knew immediately. I'm not so much sure that he'd gone for the wrong shot, that he hadn't nailed it at all. It's a decent catch. Dan Latigan, I think that was, the South African coming in off the fence. There's another subfielder for Worcestershire, so I'm not entirely sure what's going on with their starting 11. But Jimmy Neesham has gone for 8 off as many deliveries. Glamorgan 111 for 6.
Did he need to go for it? That's the big question, I think. He clearly felt the ball was there, but it was a full-length delivery. Clearly felt that if he got good contact, he might be able to clear the rope. But at this stage, with only a few balls left of this bowler, Osama Mir, really the outstanding bowler in this attack, did he need to go for it? He chose to. It went straight up in the air. And suddenly, again, Glamorgan, they've got to rebuild again, 111 for 6. And it brings Dan Douthwaite to the crease. Well, Dan Douthwaite is a guy who is not going to play too many forward defensives. He'll probably play one now, I've just said that. But he is a powerful hitter, a striker of the ball. And what will he try and do?
He'll go back to his first ball, turn off the googly from Osama Mir. Douthwaite did reasonably well to adjust. Neesham would back himself to clear pretty much any boundary with the power that he's got. You do wonder, though, whether that was the right one to take on. There is that forward defensive that we were talking about. But it was a good ball from Osama Mir.
Well, there's one more. If he tried to slog this and got out, well, I'm not sure his team would be very happy with him. But let's see.
Last ball of what's been an outstanding spell from Osama Mir ends in a dot ball. 2 runs and the wicket of Jimmy Neesham. 2 for 17 off his 4. Osama Mir, outstanding work, and he has, along with those couple of wickets earlier from Bez Swanepoel, has got Worcestershire into a position that they didn't think, I think, they would be in, having only managed 161. Well, 6 overs left. Glamorgan are 111 for 6.
We'll take about Osama Mir. Brilliant bowling. Can know that he has done everything he can do to give Worcestershire a chance of winning this game. Game still really in the balance, you'd think. Glamorgan perhaps one of the sides where 6 down is not a total disaster. With still some decent batting to come.
Tom Taylor comes back for his final over. Bowling from the top end, the River Taff end. Single for Cook. So Adam Hose is thinking, I've got to get my best bowlers back on now, because if they allow a partnership to build, this probably isn't going to go to the death.
Well, Glamorgan will hope to work the ball round for singles, but they need some boundaries as well, and so they've got to work out when. You think probably one big over is what they'll be looking for. Can they get one over away that goes for 16, 17, 18 with a succession of boundaries?
For pretty much the first time, they're behind the required run rate. Push a single, and they make it pretty comfortably. Dan Douthwaite, quick between the wickets.
Just a bit of a hesitation again. I think that just exemplifies the nervousness that there is around this place. You know, the crowd are not singing here anymore. Definitely a hush has descended. Everyone realises that this game is very much in the balance. There's a lot riding on this, of course. Both sides desperate for a win. The level on points at the moment. Big
LBW shout, that's going down the leg side.
May have just got a little tickle on it as well.
Chantry wasn't particularly interested, the umpire. Yeah, no signal, so I think inside edge.
Well, Cook is set up with quite an open stance, isn't he, there? You think so? He's looking to hit balls to the leg side, just the way he's set up. The most likely place he's going to be looking for boundaries.
Yep.
Douthwaite, again, is a power hitter.
That wind has just picked up a little bit, blowing way to the offside for Douthwaite when the bowling's from the River Taff end. Back of a length, scramble a single, they want two.
Oh, well
and
run.
They should get two pretty comfortably.
Well, that's appreciated for the crowd here. They know a good bit of running. And actually, those twos, extremely helpful at this stage, just to turn a good ball into a really valuable couple of runs. And they ran with real conviction there. Both very quick between the wickets.
This boundary here would settle the nerves.
I don't know if it settled mine. Feel like there's plenty more cricket in this game left. I feel like
shy at the stumps. Douthwaite was
done.
in pretty quickly, pretty comfortably, I think, but the oohs you can hear are getting a little bit more nervy or a little bit more hopeful from the pocket of Worcestershire fans down here, just to our right, the right of our commentary box. He was in pretty comfortably. He was pretty much past the stumps, Dan Douthwaite. It's been a good over this from Taylor.
Well, you make a good point that the required rate is now climbing. Has climbed every over for the last few.
I think Chris Cook recognised that, hit that hard but straight out to deep square leg. Just the single. So another boundaryless over, 7 off it. 5 overs remaining. 44 for Glamorgan to win and boost their chances of qualifying from the group for the first time in a little while in the T20 Blast.
Well, hold tight. I think this is going to be a nerve-wracking one, whatever happens here.
Glamorgan's commitment to only winning games in the last over continuing.
Yeah, they have made a habit of doing that, which as a neutral you absolutely love. As a committed fan on either side, you absolutely hate. I mean, it's good when you win, awful when you lose. And, well, this has the makings of a game that could go down to the wire. I think the only thing that would stop that happening is a couple of very big overs. And 2 batters at the crease who do hit a very long ball.
Do they target this one? Fateh Singh went for 13 off his first over. They've brought him back on now with Taylor and Osama Mir bowled out.
Well, very big moment for someone who's quite experienced in this format. Fateh Singh goes full and bowls him. Wow! What an impact! Chris Cook has going to launch him over the leg side. And the young left-arm spinner may have taken a wicket that could have taken his side very close to victory in this competition, in this key match. Chris Cook is gone. Glamorgan now wobbling, teetering, 118 for 7.
It's his first wicket in the Blast all season. Fateh Singh fired it in flat, sort of round the back almost of Chris Cook, who lost balance and lost shape trying to play that sweep shot. Might have just turned a little bit, might have just straightened a little bit and took out middle stump.
Well, I think if you're going to say who's favourite now, this is probably for the first time in the game. I think you'd have to say Worcestershire probably favourites at this point.
Required run rate up over 9 and over now.
What a spell. Got that full and straight. And now it's Nathan McAndrew. Proper all-rounder. Hasn't had to bat too much for Glamorgan. And every dot ball here being celebrated by the Worcestershire fans in the crowd pushes that rate up a little bit more. Trying to rush him through here, I think, is Singh as well. Clipped into the leg side. They'll think about 2. I think it'll only be 1. So, from a Glamorgan perspective, you think this is possibly tailor-made for Dan Douthwaite, in a way. He is the big hitter, the man with the raw power, a kind of all-action superhero-style figure, and they're going to need something super-heroic from him now. Goes back and he's bowled! Well, my word, what an over this is! Absolutely brilliant from Fatih Singh, and Glamorgan in disarray now. They're staring down the barrel here, 8 down, with still 43 runs needed. And it's the young spinner, in fact the Worcestershire spinners, who are doing the damage. And Glamorgan's hopes really of going second or giving themselves a chance of being in the quarter-final places have been done serious damage by the Worcestershire spin twins. 119 for 8.
That is an absolute ripper from Fatih Singh. Turned, straightened, beat the indeterminate shot and took out off stump. Beautiful bowling from Fatih Singh. Fantastic work from him coming back after that pretty poor first over. 2 wickets in the over. And now actually we're talking about Worcestershire trying to take advantage of a net run rate swing and actually and trying to ram home an advantageous position.
Absolutely, what a dramatic turn. Glamorgan lost wickets for 100, 111, 118, 119. Wickets are tumbling. The game has swung. So, well, what a moment for this pair. Still experienced cricketers out there. Still, well, there's still hope. 42 from 25, but only 2 wickets left. It's just Mason Crane to come. Well, this is really well bowled. Done a fantastic job. 2 wickets in that over from Singh. Now got exemplary figures of 2 for 15. Has come back so well. We'd speculated about whether he might be the man to target. Well, actually, he's proved to be the guy who has turned this match on its head, swung the momentum firmly into Worcestershire's favour, and it's difficult to see. Well, it's difficult to see how Glamorgan can win from here. I'm going to say it. It's going to take something really, really special, and it's going to have to come pretty quickly.
They've got to go this over, haven't they? They've got to go big this over, you think.
Drives, it's just going to be 1. It's not enough for Glamorgan. Very soon, they're going to have to get some boundaries. The rate climbing with every ball, up to close to 11 now. 11 and over needed. That's almost 2 runs a ball. 4s and 6s is what Glamorgan are going to need. Quite a few of those. So Allison goes short. It's pulled around the corner. Chance of a boundary here. They've got it. McAndrew, a welcome boundary. Well, that's lifted the crowd here a little bit. Given a bit of hope, they're going to need a bit more of that. And Allison, another bowler who struggled in his first over. And maybe he's the one. Maybe this is the over they think they've got to go after. Such a strong position, Worcestershire. Just need to keep things tight now. Goes full. Has he got the contact? He has! 6! Well, McAndrew here. We've seen him with the ball. Now we're seeing with the bat what he can do. Back-to-back boundaries. That has lifted this crowd and given Glamorgan some hope.
The only meaningful runs McAndrew's got this season, the only meaningful batting he's had, was in the reverse fixture at New Road. His 33 was in a losing cause then. Can he?
Well, that is the big question. We'll find out in the next 10 minutes or so. Just a single. Well, it's going to be that sort of thing that if Glamorgan are to get over the line here, as the shouts of, oh, Glammy, Glammy begin, the crowd are trying to pick their side up. They're in the doldrums. They need a lift from somewhere.
That's the first time we've heard them for about 20 minutes.
So Tim van der Hooft'n on strike. Cuts. Good diving stop at point. They're going to scurry through for a single. Well, he had to stop that. Well, that was going to be a 4. There's no one behind him. Putting his body on the line there. Throwing everything behind it.
Kashif nearly face planting and headbutting the ground as he dove away to his right at backward point. Good work.
Like a goalkeeper going down to save a penalty. Well, might be more of that later on tonight. So Allison gone for 13 so far, 1 ball to come. Oh! And McAndrew tried to launch him into the stand once again. Hits fresh air, but still a slightly better over for Glamorgan. Means the rate just stays below 10. 9.7 now, 29 needed off 18 balls. And you presume they're going to go stay with Singh. Well, what a job he did last over. And they are. Keep the pace off. The pace on will seem easier to hit, to be honest.
They are going to have to go back to pace for the next over, though. Either Swanepoel or Matthew Waite. But this... I said this is the over at the start of last over, but every over is the over now, isn't it?
So Van der Hooft'n gets a single. Gets McAndrew down onto strike. Well, we saw his power when the ball was dropped short. He hit the leg side boundary. When it was full, he hit the straight boundary. And maybe it's the straight boundary here, the slightly shorter boundary that he'll be targeting. Nothing he can do with that one. Dot ball. Cheered like it's a wicket now by the Worcestershire fans. Sweeps. Big appeal again. I think that one's going down. Yeah, more in hope than expectation, I think, there. They're going for everything, and why not? They know they've got a great chance here to beat Glamorgan in their own patch, Worcestershire. And Fateh Singh, well, you've got to say, he's bowled really well. Another dot ball. Well, that's 3 dots in a row at this crucial stage of the match. Pressure building on Glamorgan. And you think, McAndrew's got to go for one of these. Works it for a single. Well, it's been a fantastic over. 2 singles from the first 5 balls. Exactly what his captain would have wanted from him. He's been cool as a cucumber. Very impressive from the left arm spinner. And finishes it off with another dot ball. Throws the ball back to his skipper and jogs to his place after a fantastic over. Well, any momentum Glamorgan felt they had from the previous over with those boundaries from McAndrew has been neutralised with a fantastically tight collection of 6 from Fateh Singh.
He's getting his name sung by the Worcestershire fans, and no wonder. Went for 13 off his first over. His next 2 overs, 2 for 4. Outstanding work.
So 27 to win off 12. How many would you feel happy needing in the last over from a Glamorgan perspective? If you're Glamorgan, how many do you think they'd feel confident chasing from the last over?
No more than 12.
Well, that means this has got to be a big one. Go straight. Chance for a catch. Brilliant catch. That could be the decider. What a celebration. What a dive. And you think that may be the game for the Rapids. A brilliant catch. And Glamorgan's hopes now potentially in tatters. As Nathan McAndrew, the man who looked like potentially had the power to get Glamorgan home, well, he's now gone, and we're down to the last pair.
Another excellent catch from the subfielder Dan Latigan, who, if I'm not mistaken, almost dived out of his trousers down there at long off. He didn't quite get the connection he wanted. Yeah, diving low to his right, takes it fantastically just above the turf, dives out of his trousers, keeps the ball, keeps his dignity, and keeps Worcestershire ahead of the game.
Well, what a catch. Brilliant catch under pressure. He must have known how important that was. Had enough time to think about it, but in the end went full length. Got it. And Worcestershire now within 1 wicket of victory. So Swanepoel here, you feel just needs to be safe here. Just needs to get through this. Even if he goes for 10 or something, you'd still think that'll leave maybe too much to do for this last pair. Mason Crane, the new batter. It's just going to be one. They need more than that. Where's the boundary going to come from? Well, Van der Hoogten, big strong man.
Over extra covers an option, extra covers up. The slice backward a square behind point is on.
So, well, will he go straight again? Tries to pull that into the leg side again. Only gets one. No. Oof. Van der Hoogten was looking to come from 2. It had come about a third of the way down. And was sent back by Crane. Well, tension. Quite saying panic. Stress around this Glamorgan batting lineup now, this last pair. They must know they're up against it. It's going to take something miraculous to win from here. And it's been signalled a wide from the square leg umpire. So another one to the total. An extra ball to be bowled as well. And the cut-off time here again also could be relevant. Cut-off 6:21. He's jogged back to his marker, Swanepoel here. So trying to get through this over before the clock turns. Oh, well bowled. Back of a length. Not much that Mason Crane could do with that.
I mean, they're not going to make the cut-off because they've got 2 balls to bowl in 1 minute. So Glamorgan will have the advantage of Worcestershire having to bring another fielder up. Whether they can make it close enough to make that count remains to be seen.
So 22 needed from 8. Tall order. This is going to be possibly team. Maybe has to go for it. That's well run. Crane runs back very quickly. Ooh, and again I thought there was a moment, an overthrow as well, but they get 2. So 20 from 7. How they would love a maximum here. Feels like they just need something. They need something big.
We have officially hit the cut-off. 6:21. And now that I think they know they're not going to make the cut-off, they are going to take the time to actually talk about the field.
So it looks like they're bringing up mid-off. I think he's been pulled into the circle at mid-off. And so, well, maybe that's the area to go. It's like shorter boundaries straight here at Sapphire Gardens. Van der Hoogten definitely knows he's got the power. If he gets hold of one to hit it for 6 straight on. Now he's got a bit more leeway. He just needs to get it over the head of the guy in the circle there at mid-off. But big ball this one. Glamorgan needs something. And they get 4. Well, a bit of hope, a glimmer of hope. It needed to go for a boundary somewhere. 4 will do, and that means that Glamorgan need 16 to win off the final over.
Interesting now. They are going to go with Fateh Singh. A spinner bowling in the last over, even with 16 to defend, with only 4 fielders to work with out on the boundary. He's bowled terrifically well, Fateh Singh, today, but that's a big ask.
Well,
even to numbers 10 and 11.
Yeah. So, well, it's going to need some boundaries. Can you imagine if the first couple go for 6, then suddenly we've got a proper game on? I think it's going to need something of that. They cannot really afford to have a couple of singles or a couple of dot balls. They've got to go for it. It's one of those moments. They don't have a choice. There's no stick or twist. They've got to twist here. They've got to twist. Their only chance of winning this match is boundaries early on. And it's Mason Crane who's going to be on strike. Of course, got his maiden first-class 100 here. But There wasn't a lot of massive ball striking and that. It was kind of more careful accumulation. So he's going to need to maybe go against character here and see if he can hit a ball for 4. Mid-off is up, so is that the area? Goes for... Oh! And it's gone! Is that out?
Big appeal for a stumping, but I think he might have got back Mason Crane.
Oh, well, he ran forward as if he'd been bowled there. Couldn't quite tell what had happened. Crane kept his foot down. I think. Oh, did he? Yeah, well, it was sliding along. Was sliding, just kept his toe down.
Actually, that's a really good ball from Fateh Singh. Dip and drift and turn and bounce, and a good take from Gareth Roderick.
Well, 16 from 5.
It's brave as well to give the ball a bit of air at this stage.
Yeah, 16 from 5. Mathematically possible. You'd have to say unlikely, but possible. Hope still remains. Ball's in the air. Chance of a catch. Have Worcestershire won? They have! Worcestershire win. The ball is caught. Fateh Singh continues his brilliant match-winning spell. And it's Worcestershire who win this crucial match. It's Worcestershire who move ahead of Glamorgan in the Central and West Division. And that is a big blow to Glamorgan's hopes of reaching the quarter-final. Take a bow, Fateh Singh. They win the game by 16 runs. And that is a fantastic performance to keep Glamorgan to less than 150 at home. Well, Knuckle, you've got to say, impressive stuff with the ball in hand from Worcestershire.
Outstanding resilience from Worcestershire. Couple of little moments in that game. I mean, they'd lost all those wickets going into the last couple of overs of their batting innings, as we see Dan Latigan take the very simple catch. He's taken 2 absolutely fantastic catches, but that was much easier. Just a couple of steps to his left. Never looked like dropping it. The South African, the sub-fielder. So those couple of that little flourish to get them to 160, and then 2 bowlers, both of whom had gone for tap in their first over. First Bear Swanepoel with those 2 and 2 at the top of the order to get through the top order, to get through Smail and Asa Tribe, and then Fateh Singh, whose first over was poor. Well, 3 boundaries, a couple of down the leg side, and then came on and completely turned this game and completely snuffed out any realistic chance of Glamorgan winning this game, and bowled with real bravery. He tossed the ball up, he was trying to give the ball air, he was trying to get the ball to turn, trying to give it some revs, and the Glamorgan middle and lower order had no answer to him. Shout out for Osama Mir as well, who did terrifically. 4 overs, 2 for 17. But we had not written Worcestershire off, but we had said that they were second favourites throughout most of that game, throughout most of their batting innings. Gareth Roderick, the absolute standout for them, with 71. We had said at halfway that we thought Glamorgan were favourites. We were saying really up until about the 15th or 16th over here that they were favourites. So that's a terrific effort from Worcestershire without Sikandar Raza, who had been their top scorer throughout this season. So without that quality and that experience, I think that's an outstanding performance from Worcestershire to win this game in the end relatively comfortably by 16 runs and give themselves a serious chance of qualifying out the group. And you've got to say fair play to Adam Hose and his men.
Yeah, a brilliant job. And there you can see the card. Well, it was only really Ben Kellaway who hung around for 43 until he, was run out needlessly. And you could say it was probably that moment, really, where the collapse began, the panic started, and, as try as they might, none of that sort of middle order of experienced players were able to stay around long enough, as the spin of Singh and Mir, they just kept it so tight. Glamorgan couldn't get them away for boundaries and forced them to play shots that weren't there to be hit, and they got out. So, outstanding performance from the Worcestershire bowlers. We can see the figures here. Well, Singh, what a day he'll remember. I think that would possibly, he'd be a very hard man to drop now, not having played many games after that performance.
I mean, he hadn't taken a wicket in the one game that he bowled earlier in the season, but 3 for 17 off his 3.2 overs. Blair Swanepoel, 2 and 2. Will Smail and Asa Tribe started the rot, 3 for 36, and Osama Mir in the middle overs when he wasn't really getting a huge amount of support, 2 for 17 off his 4 overs, and none, as you rightly say, none of the lower order for Glamorgan, with the possible slight exception of Tim van der Guchten for his 11, scored at anything meaningfully above a run of ball, and that, we look at that run out from Callaway, it looked needless and potentially match turning at the time, and it looks even more so now with hindsight.
Yeah, it does. You could tell he was so disappointed as he was run off the pitch punching his bat. I think he knew the significance of what happened. And so there's the match summary. Worcestershire win by 15 runs after making 161 for 9, which looked 20 or 30 runs below par. And in the end, Glamorgan, well, they just weren't good enough to see it through. You have to say, very good bowling from the spinners of Worcestershire, and they fell 15 runs short. So, well, how do you think this leaves it in the mix then for the quarter-final places in this group?
I think Glamorgan have got to win both their remaining games, potentially win them big.
And three left. One
Apologies,
home game,
Glamorgan
Glamorgan
have got a game in hand, of course. I think Glamorgan realistically have to win all 3 of those games. They may end up in a situation where they have to rely on being one of the two best third-place teams. They're in a situation. You're in a situation now where they kind of want. The next game is against Northants, who've been far and away the best team in the West Central group, and that's going to be a challenge. And if that game doesn't go the way Glamorgan want it to on the 8th of July, then I think it's going to be very, very tricky for them.
Yeah, it's a key game here. It's Wednesday night here at Sapphire Garden, so the last home match in the Blast this season, so much riding on it. I think it's going to be a good one, so if you haven't got your tickets, glamorgancricket.com is the place to go to come and see that one. Of course, you'll be able to follow us here on the live stream as well. But then, 2 difficult away matches, Warwickshire at Edgbaston next Friday, and then a week today, Gloucestershire, currently in second place in the table, and, that's at Bristol. And what a game that could be. Could be everything to play for in that match. So 3 games left. You think Glamorgan probably have to win at least 2 of the 3. I think any less than that, I think their hopes will have gone. 3 out of 3, and they've got a pretty good chance of making it, you'd think. But from a Worcestershire perspective, well, they're right in the mix as well.
Yeah, 24 points now for them. They've got Glamorgan and Gloucestershire and Somerset coming up. For them, Somerset have really struggled this year. The defending champions, Gloucestershire, obviously. That game's huge as well now. For Glamorgan, really they want whoever wins that game to win it tight. They can't really afford a big net run rate swing against them. They missed the chance today to close that net run rate gap on Gloucestershire as well, so that could come into play as well. And Worcestershire would think that if they win their last 2 games, they've got a pretty solid chance of going through either top 2 or as one of the best third place teams as well.
Yeah.
So it is going to be all to play for that second promotion spot in knockout spot in the Central West group, plus that best placed third place team. So this group is going down to the wire. Yeah,
it's very, very, very tight, and Worcestershire putting some wins back to back, putting some wins together, and I think momentum's such a big thing at this stage of the competition, and they will be delighted with their day's work, and the hour and a half drive back to Worcester will be a lot easier on the back of that win. So as for Glamorgan, well, a chance to rebuild, and they're going to have to do it the hard way now. And that probably means by beating the unbeaten side in this group on Wednesday night, if they're going to do it. Northamptonshire been in ridiculous form, unbeaten so far, and in fact they have lost one. Sorry, they've lost. Is that happened this afternoon? I've just seen they have lost a match, their first game. So they're still on 32. So there is a chance. Glamorgan, if they win all 3, you'd say they'd be pretty confident of making it. Win 2 out of 3, well, a good chance, but I think anything less than that, and it might be disappointment and maybe difficult to reach the quarterfinals. Well, I think that pretty much wraps up our coverage today. Huge thanks to Nakul Pandey for your thoughts and your insights. It's been great to spend the afternoon with you, and thank you very much indeed. And thank you to you for joining us on the live stream here on glamorgancricket.com this afternoon. We hope you'll join us again on Wednesday for that crucial game Glamorgan against the Northamptonshire Steelbacks, which again could have a massive bearing on who makes the quarterfinals this year. So from Nakul and from me, Ashley Crowder, thanks very much indeed for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you the next time. Have a great weekend. Bye.